大合体。勇者エクスカイザー最強のロボキングエクスカイザー。勇者エクスカイザー。新幹線がブルーレイカーとグリーンレイカーに。これが驚異の左右合体だ。ウルトラレイカー登場。ゴッドマックスもすごいぞ。勇者エクスカイザーマックスチーム登場。スカイマックス、ダッシュマックス、ドリルマックス、迫力の3体合体。戦えゴッドマックス。ウルトラレイカーもすごいぞ。勇者エクスカイザー。ドラゴンカイザー登場。キングエクスカイザーと超巨大合体グレートエクスカイザー。フルパワーで攻撃だ。超巨大合体グレートエクスカイザー。三段変形ダイノガイストもすごいぞ。
緊急指令ギャレオンガイガーに変形だ。行くぞファイナルフュージョン承認。ドリルガオライナーガオステルスガオ合体だ。見ろディバイディングドライバー。超人合体ガオガイガー。行くぞ。今ならこのディバイディングドライバーがついてるぞ。
街の平和は任せろ。左右合体潮流人。
ボルホックガンドーベルガングルー合体せよ。腕を上げろ音を出せ。激音合体ビッグボルホック。キャンペーン実施中。ハローミーはマイク・サウンダス13歳。レッツゴーマイク。オッケーシステムチェンジ。サウンドスタート。一緒に戦おう。サウンドロボマイク&バリバリ
見ろ超巨大ロボキングジェイダー。宇宙戦艦ジェイアグリ変形だ。宇宙に敵なし超ド級合体キングジェイダー。
よみがえる熱血伝説マグナティラノからマグナザウラーへ。そしてマグナバスターザウラージェット大ザウラーと合体。トミー熱血武装マグナザウラー。復活最強の戦士。恐竜ロボからジェットへ。そしてグランザウラーへ熱血進化。大ザウラーマグナザウラーグランザウラー。3つの熱血が時空を超え今一つに。トミー超熱血合体キングゴーザウラー。
発進。鳳凰竜王剣王雷神王に無敵合体。ジャーク帝国から地球を守るのだ。無敵合体雷神王。トミーから雷神ソードもよろしく。伝説は今始まる。ドラゴンからロボへ。無敵変形爆竜王雷神王と超無敵合体。完成ゴッド雷神王。限界を超えた超無敵ロボトミーか
ベラリオス、ガンパー、アトラウス登場。21世紀のメカミライオン、巨大ロボに完全合体。今衝撃の合体革命、クロスイン。未来ロボダルタニアス完成。未来合体デラックス超合金ダルタニアス、ポピーより発売中。
今こそ復活、5体の守護獣たち、見よこの勇姿。シーゾー。守護獣たちの進化は続く。いでよドラゴンシーゾー。究極を極めた進め重騎士。
小さな体に力を秘めた強い重い精密なメカ、これが噂の超合金。マジンガー Z ポピーより新発売。
ゲッターロボ G ドラゴン、ライガー、ポセイドン。戦闘準備完了。人類の敵百鬼帝国を攻撃せよ。ライガーミサイル、トマホーク、ブーメラン、ストロングミサイル。ジャンボマシンダーゲッターロボ G ドラゴン、ライガー、ポセイドン、ポピーより新発売。
チェンジゲッターゴー。あの迫力を君の手に。デラックスゲッターロボ GO 豊かより。ゲッター GO 合体。チェンジゲッター興奮と迫力を君の手に。戦え僕らのヒーロー。デラックスゲッターロボ GO、 そしてゲッターショー、ゲッターガイ豊かより。
ダンボスコンビネーション、ダンボス GO、 ダンボス GO、 ダンボス GO、 チェンジ。
宇宙の侵略者を迎え撃つためにコンビネーションロボザンボット3、ここに誕生。3つのメカが1つになってザンボット3。
エースフォロー、アンパンチ、エースミサイル。
ザンボット3コンビネーションジュニアクローバーから発売中。
今日も戦い続けるザンボット3、今クローバーから。宇宙要塞ソロモンからテキサス、そして光る空へ。恐怖のモビルアーマービグザム、赤い彗星シャア専用ザク。ニュータイプの運命は RX78 ガンダム無敵のメカニズム。パーフェクトコレクション機動戦士ガンダムバンダイのプラモデル。 黒獅子、赤獅子、そして3代の獅子たちよ。今眠りから覚める5代の未来獣、ロボットメカの限界に挑戦。全く新しい奇跡の超合体システム、ついに完成。未来獣合体ドライオン、未来に挑戦するポピーより絶賛発売中。
Reactor engaged. Traction locked. All go.
Hello, hello, my dearest Lio boo-boos. Let's get into some of the early stuff here real quick. Lacy Pink Land for $2. I got high as crap for this uncle's party. Well, I don't know if we're going to party, but it'll be interesting. And then Goosebumps 67 for $2. Whopper, 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 whopper. Okay. And of course, Tiramisu for 500, whatever that is, the troll money. Once again, great timing since I'm drawing. Also, go join Lio's Discord server if you're 18 plus. They host cool art events. Also, commission me /J. Yes. And thank you very much, so Tiramisu, for the gifted memberships of my channel. Maybe one day I'll figure out what to do for the channel memberships. Okay, so a couple of things here I need to talk about real quick for the housekeeping. We'll do the fun stuff first. I have in my possession the new Figure Art Sailor Moon figure. No regrets. So that's a plus, right? However, there's also something I would like to take to account right now. There is an individual in my spaces by the name of Killy who is in a very rough spot. I have linked their GoFundMe. It's almost met already. If you guys could give them a leg up and help them finish that up, that would be very much appreciated. They certainly could use the help to get out of the situation they're in. I know somebody, it's Queen Seraphina, who is personally overseeing all this, so no worries about any sort of scams or anything like that. So, that's as far as we go for the early stuff. Now, to be very clear, we do have a little bit of heavier housekeeping to do today, and it's going to be involving Chaoaticz. So I'm sure everyone remembers Chaoaticz, the little weirdo who has been claiming since freaking middle school that they have been raped by their ex-boyfriend. Now, even by Chaoticz's own accounts, it's not actually rape. Chaoaticz is a little freaky weirdo who has made it a point to weaponize therapy speak to try to give in to people to harass this person. Now, a bit of information has recently dropped. Now, if you guys remember, what did I say when I was addressing whether or not this individual, Clay Plexer, has lied about anything? What did I say I'd do? If I found out he'd lied about anything, what would I do, chat? Can you remind me what I said I would do? I know there's a lag, so I'll wait. Man, the chat's really lagging. Like, lagging pretty badly. Drop him, rip and tear. Send him to the upside down, okay. That I'd burn him, right? That I would take him to task for it. I would do all these things. Well, here's the thing. On Thursday, I got pulled into a group chat that consisted of Malvia, Hero, Love Like Mari, joined a little later, right? And they were bringing me something they had just found out about from Hero. Now, to be very clear, none of this is Hero's fault. I know some of Chaoticz's goons, because that's all they are. They're deranged animals. Keep trying to harass, and yes, you heard a water bottle, are going to harass Hero in the straw page, I think it's called? In the straw page, because they held on to this. So, I want to be very clear. We do not have solid, uncontested evidence. This is hearsay. The hearsay is that Clay Plexer, the person that Chaoaticz has been harassing and framing as a not pedophile, but as a rapist for years now, was the Discord assassin. It was a honeypot. Now, we don't have any solid evidence for this. We just have personal claims. Maybe Clay lied about doing it. Maybe this is some manic episode. I don't know. And I don't care. And when I say I don't care, I don't mean I don't care if he did it. I do care if he did it. What I mean by I don't care is when he makes that claim about himself, I'm going to take it as serious. Because I've been very critical of the people who kept Fagos around, even if they didn't believe what Fagos did. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Brother, you're gone if you do that in my spaces. So, Clay has been removed from my spaces, and whatever may happen legally, if anything, because there's question about the legality of doing something like that, right? There always is. To Catch a Predator probably wouldn't have gotten where it was if there was a lot of legal issues. I initially interpreted it as a federal offense because just trying to pretend to be an assassin is a problem inherently. Whether or not it actually is, I genuinely don't know upon further looking into it. But it's still enough of a problem for me to continue pushing that he hadn't done wrong there. Now, that being said, Chaoaticz does not get the victory lap about this because Chaoaticz is a habitual liar. Because Chaoaticz has tried to frame this person for years. Whether or not some of this was brought about by Chaoatic's obsession with painting this person as crazy and they were just desperate to get them off the playing field, I don't know. But also, not my problem, frankly. Because even if this isn't real, he put Hero through 2 months of holding on to that without telling anybody because he made it a point. I don't want you telling anybody this, right? I'll tell them eventually. A lie. I'm still not okay with that. I'm not okay with a lot of that stuff. Now, I'm not going to air out Hero and Clay's relationship troubles. It's none of my business, frankly. I'm 40. They're 18 and 17. They can deal with that on their own for the most part. Now, for Bomberman, for $5 super chat. All right, Lion Man, where does Knuckles fit in all of this? He doesn't chuckle. He wants to flex his muscles. Anyways, Chaoaticz does not get to victory lap about this. So what I'm going to do now is, in case there's a little bit more information, we're going to get her side of it. I'm going to bring Love Like Mari on. Hopefully she's still around. Maybe she didn't. Hopefully she didn't pass out. Where is the Mari? Oh, seriously, where? Oh, there. I'm sure they know I'm streaming. And I'm sure Chaoaticz or one of their friends are streaming. So, Chaoaticz, you're insane. And what I said in your community post, I mean. And you can sit there and you can play pretend that it's somehow creepy that some older guy is holding you to account and is telling people that you're deranged. If you continue on this, I am just going to hound you. That's just what I'm going to do. And there's no amount of screeching that's going to stop that. So time to bring Mari on. Hello.
Hello.
It's Amari.
It is.
How you doing today?
I'm tired. I just woke up.
Oh, you took a little nap, huh?
I had to take a little after work nap.
Oh, those are great, aren't they?
Oh yeah. Best part of turning 18.
I started working at 14, so I don't know. But so have you been watching the stream, or you just been kind of chilling out on your own?
I've just been chilling, so
okay.
I don't really know what the stream is saying.
Okay, I already went through the whole Clay claimed, told Hero to hold on to it. We don't have any actual evidence that he is in fact the individual who did that, but it's a claim he's making, and as such, I still want him gone, because if you're willing to claim that about yourself, you can't be trusted anyways. So that's where we are right now. And I'm just bringing you on to see if there's anything else you wanted to say, anything you wanted to address, stuff like that.
Well, Chaoaticz has been, like, he released a video, I think, like, day of or day after the allegations dropped, and he was like, yeah, these people can't be trusted, I was right the whole time, you know, yada, 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 you know, just taking his little stupid-ass victory lap. Oh, sorry, I don't know if I can cuss.
That's fine.
Okay, just making sure. But it's just ridiculous, because he didn't even know the full story. He's claiming a lot of things about my friends and I that he has no evidence for, that, like, even the victim in this scenario is like, hey, this isn't, like, right. So I just wanted to remind people to not take all of what Chaoaticz, or basically any of what Chaoaticz says, at face value, and to just, you know, use some much needed logic and nuance, because I feel like that's missing in a lot of what's being said publicly. So, ugh.
Especially considering the fact that Chaoaticz is now trying to claim that you and Malvia didn't take claims of grooming seriously, even though you were, to my knowledge, not even really contacted or shown a lick of actual evidence to any of these claims.
No, not at all. If I don't know if they're, like, public about who they are, so I'm just gonna refer to them as Anon because that's how Chaoaticz refers to them. But if Anon had come to me personally and sent me like actual evidence, like screenshots of Clay being predatory or antagonistic or whatever towards them, I would have rained hell on him because I'm not a bitch. I will criticize my friends openly. I'm not a little bitch. I will do that. But, you know, not great choices were made on behalf of like Anon and what they chose to do with this claim that they're running with. So I have no interest in wanting to communicate with them regardless. And also, I'm not like a pred hunter. Like, if anything like that were to happen, I wouldn't like know what to do. So, you know,
Well,
I'm probably not the best person to bring it to anyways.
For your edification, you direct them to report it to law enforcement.
Yeah, that would be my first thought. I'd be like, yeah, go to the cops. I'm just love like Mari on the internet. I don't know what you want from me.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend getting involved in predator hunting. It can be an absolute mess.
Yeah, I saw how that worked out for you, bud.
Well, there were some problems, but for the most part, I did what I was supposed to. And people can groan about it if they want to.
And that's all you can do in the end.
Yep. Anything else you want to say to the chat? Anything you feel needs to be gone over?
Not that I'm aware of. Like, if people have questions, I'm open to answering them because I don't lie to people. I don't lie to my audience. I'm an open book, basically. Mm-hmm. So I'm fine with answering questions, but whatever.
And the people who are harassing Hero should immediately kill themselves.
Yes, exactly that. Because you guys literally don't know anything about the situation. You don't know anything about me or Hero's relationship. You don't know anything about what we talked about. Y'all don't know anything. So stop assuming that you do, because you're making yourself look a little stupid.
Yep. So, all right. You sound like you just want to get on with your day and not have to deal with this crap. So you can go ahead and skedaddle. I will catch you later. Let me know how things go.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Sure thing. Thank you, Lio.
Anytime. Bye-bye. That was Love Like Mari, everybody. Now, I'm a little confused about their name. Because if it's Love Like Mari, how can they be Mari? These are the questions we have to ask. As you all know. Alright, so that out of the way. Maybe I'll clip that and put it up on the channel as a video so people will know I've addressed it. So, what are we here to talk about for the most part? We're here to talk about Anthony Grimugula. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. I always thought it was Grimugula. Apparently it's not. And as somebody who has a last name people don't tend to pronounce well, he can get over it because I deal with the same thing. Zella Stonebridge for $5. Ant-related fun fact. He's a Stardew Valley weight gain. He's in a Stardew Valley weight gain. What? Okay. I did not need to know that. Did not need to know that. Well, I was initially going to go over to Chaoatic's video about all this, but Chaoaticz is just a moron. And there's nothing in this video of actual value. They make claims with no evidence. They play a video clip and try to get you to believe that somebody's a predator with no evidence. So, goodbye. I don't care. So, what are we going to talk about? What are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about Anthony Grimugula. People know Anthony Grimugula, or Gabagool, whatever, as a media review critic who is very much so fond of media literacy, which is interesting because a man who has such a high value put on media literacy can't read any of the situations he's in at any given time. Goosebump67 for $2. A-tier pronunciation. Well, thank you. So this probably won't be a short stream. It may be a long one, because we have a lot to get into concerning Grimugula, and frankly, it's kind of hard to figure out where to start. Some of you may be seeing him getting torn into on Twitter via Psy Scribbles about his video on fan service, and the fact that he makes a reference to a disgusting porn manga as something he wants to see more, and we'll get into that. Now, this should be talked about. I have told other people to look at that video, because Lord knows it's something I found really early on once I started looking into the guy. Sai doesn't get to do that, because Sai was his friend during that time. The video was produced in 2024. She doesn't get to do that. February 2024, he made this video. So, why do I have 4 people on the thumbnail? Well, I'm going to give you a rundown of why. So, who's the first person on the thumbnail? Do you guys know who the first person on the thumbnail is? Go ahead and tell me. Who's the first person on the thumbnail? Bottom right-hand corner, of course. Okay, we're not bringing up him being a father or his kid or anything. That's irrelevant. So irrelevant. Not doing it. I say bottom right-hand corner. Everybody goes everywhere else but that. There he goes. Skitty Bitty. So, we have Skitty Bitty, and then above Skitty Bitty is a weirdo who, like, keeps children around her server where she instructs them on how to get money away from their parents without their parents knowing, and we're going to get into that. Because somebody named Harmful Opinions did videos on that, and we're going to go over them. Thank God his videos are very, very, brevity is the soul of wit. It's not like a 40-minute video each time. And then we have Cy Scribbles. Somebody, Anthony Grimugula, went on a crusade for because, God forbid, I call her out for letting children access porn and post a child porn fan fiction to let them read through. Which he knew about, by the way, and we'll get into that. And then, all the way on the other side of this thumbnail, right, we have the Birdman, who isn't really somebody I'm going to go over to an extent here. Just the fact that this is a repeated pattern of kids being given access to certain things within servers that they have no business accessing, Anthony knowing about it, and then doing nothing about it. And of course, the bottom, we have Utterly Noah, who at some point will do an entire dedicated stream on, who has not only done the above things, but also is a plagiarist and a habitual liar. Now, I want to make sure we keep the main thing, because while I might be part of the ACC, I am not one of the idiots who opens a Google Doc about a predator with, hey, they're a tracer. Not going to do that. So, then we have A Space here for $2. Smile, thank you. So, A Space has been giving me some interesting things we're going to look over. So, I have receipt after receipt here about Grimugula. I have it in video form. I also have it in screen cap form. And we're going to be going over as much as possible. But first, I want to give you an idea of what this guy's brain is like. So, we're going to go over first his video on fan service. So, let me test my chat here. Right? I'm gonna start a poll. Want to make sure that clarification is put there. Tell me, chat, what do you think he means when he means fan service? Do you think he means A, other media references, like the times Thundercats was referenced in Little Witch Academia, the time Mazinger was referenced in Sonic X, or do you think it's lewd anime high school girls? What do you think he's referring to? Bomberman for $5, and I see the Ace is supporting his adopted dad. I like that that's been reversed. Fantastic. Angie sent a gift. I have no idea how to open it. I am a boomer, but thank you for the gift, whatever that does. I am not good at this. I'm a boomer, and it's like I'm in the Phantom Zone. I'm just flying through space in that little square. So we're gonna look at Grimugula's fan service video as best as we can, because I may have not known that Internet Archive could just download the video, and I may have just recorded the whole thing in a window and then upload it raw. So, yay. Zealous Stonebridge, $2. Correction, he's no longer on the server. Well, maybe his Maybe his Stardew Valleys were big enough. So let's go ahead and playback speed 2, because I'm not listening to this troglodyte go on in the slowest way possible. So, I need to remind all of you, before we start, Anthony is in his 30s.
In the teen section. As someone who at that time mainly knew anime through Toonami, I flipped through it and had my mind blown. I found Love Hina at the right time. Young teen, confused hormones, mid-2000s. Anyone remember that Newgrounds Love Hina Flash game, the really inappropriate dating sim? That was my stuff at the time. That's what I was growing up with. But when I went online to talk about Love Hina on forums, back in Guy Online and all that kind of stuff, I found people going, "Oh, you think that's great? Watch Legend of the Overfiend or La Blue Girl, and then get back to me." And so I did, and Love Hina felt very tame by comparison. Obviously, fan service is different from overt hentai, but even then, it feels like fan service is different now. It used to be you had to pick up Street Fighter 2 the movie to see some fan service, but now every anime just seems to have fan service in it. And it seems at once excessive and conservative. And when I say conservative, I don't mean Republican. I mean conservative in that they tease a lot, but always hold back on true intimacy. They won't.
For the record, the name is Why is Anime Fan Service Dull Now? Dull now. Why is it dull now, guys? Why is the fans, or why are the anime girls having their tits out? Why is it so dull now? Hoo-hum. Alright. Still don't know what the gifts are. I'll do the Gidget stuff later, Racerman. See, the thing is, the way he opened it. Like, hey, I saw this thing when I was younger. It was unspeakably horny, essentially. This is when you stop and say, I should not have, and I don't recommend teenagers do that, because you don't want to sit there and try to normalize or justify children going to look at porn. And his failure to make that correction seems to be a habitual problem with him. NG Angel for $2. Ant being stupid? No way. It's a day that ends in Y. True. Let's see here. Ember says, I'm playing a game where the fan service is just characters getting along and not arguing with each other. Truth be told, is the best kind of fan service. What do you think, Lio? Have fun with it, I guess? I trust nothing. What did I get pinged on? Who dare message me? Oh, it's Ace. In his server. Oh my god. Of course, Jar's being a loser. Boop. Gonna mute that for now. Anywho. So now he's going on. Now here's the thing. Like She-Hulk, yeah, She-Hulk had fan service, just not the way that anime does it. Continuing.
Show you what hasn't been tested. Modern fan service stopped feeling dangerous. It feels predictable. Back in the day when we picked up an uncensored VHS of an anime, it was a real mystery. Like, what didn't they...
Why would you want fan service at all, much less dangerous fan service? These are 9 times out of 10 high school girls. You're in your 30s. Like, does this guy think before he speaks, or does he just ramble on and expect people to listen to him?
Censored. You'd watch it in a dark room when your parents tell us. Kind of nervous you'd be caught. I remember the first time I watched Wicked City, that movie felt dangerous. Like, you'd see some mind-melting stuff and not know what to expect next. And genuinely, you didn't know what to expect next.
Okay. I mean, I wonder what type of household he was raised in to where horror iconography is somehow outside of the realm of what he'd expect. I mean, that's actually genuinely kind of mind-boggling. I grew up in, like, a haunted house, and I've dealt with very unpleasant things. Something like Wicked City wouldn't even stun me, even as a child. This is ridiculous.
But now, every fan service show that comes out feels samey. Each season, a show ends, and next month, its replacement comes out. That's not to say you won't get exceptional stuff every year, but the bulk of titles feel identical. You just get this deluge of titles where you go and you watch it and you say, wait, didn't I see this show last month? I think fans...
It's almost like there have been people like Miyazaki who have been on record saying that the anime industry is essentially too incestuous to where it makes references to other material and becomes very samey or something along those lines. I wonder if Mr. Media Literacy knows about that. Anime Sniper, $2. Ant is the kind of guy who is a D-Gen or a Riri. I don't know what that means.
Service is an easy thing to point out and go, yeah, I've seen this before, because it is so cyclical and repetitive. The stuff that stands out only stands out because of how outrageous it is, but even then, you...
Look, man, I'm 40. My response to fan service isn't, well, I've seen that before. It's, why is this here? This does nothing for the story. Why are you doing this? I am a man. Stop this garbage. This is gross and creepy, and all of you belong in jail. Just an R-Slur for $2. New Spider-Man movie literally had a fan service in it. Are we talking about the type I talk about, or are we talking about the type he's talking about?
You can expect a show in a few seasons to have that same thing that shocked you, only more commercialized. And
why is he using an anime of incest as, like, a talking of fan service?
I want to talk about it because I feel like it reflects a bigger issue in storytelling.
Okay, again, that's the incest anime. What is wrong with this guy?
The phrase sex sells dates back to the early days of cinema. 1 million years BC was a film featuring dinosaurs attacking each other, but all the posters have the now iconic Raquel Welch bikini in it. As though a scene when Allosaurus and Triceratops fight isn't enough to sell a blockbuster. As far as I can tell, fan service really started to kick off in the anime medium back in the early 70s. Go Nagai, one of the greatest manga creators of all time, he created titles like Magic Z and Devilman, but 1973's TV Honey, one of anime's first Magic Girl series, drew a large audience thanks to its kick-ass female
Sally the Witch is the first magical girl series. Womp womp.
lead and, some of the time, more sensual imagery throughout. Honey Kisaragi, the main protagonist of Team Honey, is an android who has the ability to create matter from thin air. Well, let's ignore the fact that air is made of matter for a second and just move on. So she uses this physics-breaking ability to either transform into a magical girl with a superhero sword or a bunch of different disguises. A clear precursor to the modern magical girl. I think Sailor Moon even has that little brooch she can use to disguise herself in the first season of Sailor Moon, but never uses it after the point, but I digress. The outfit changing allows Bill Guy to draw his protagonist in plenty of, well, you have eyes, just look at it.
Some of the audio had to be removed because it got copyright claimed. Let's talk about the Daikon footage and how it essentially went to Gunbuster.
Mid-80s, we saw a significant diversion. We had hentai series like Cream Lemon, Dream Hunter Ren, Legend of the Overfiend, etc. push sexualization in animation to the limit of the censorship system. And we had...
Wait, hold on. What did he call that?
We had hentai series like Cream Lemon, Dream Hunter Ren, Legend of the Overfiend, etc. push sexualization in animation to the limit of the censorship system. And we had more mainstream material that wanted
Okay, just want to make sure you got that right.
to tease sex without ever going all out. Hentai chose to explore, while fan services began to recycle things that Dynax had perfected years earlier.
Wait, so you want this stuff to explore things? You want the porn to explore things? What is wrong with this guy?
And if anything, with each iteration, it got more boring.
Who are you and what are you defending him? Are you riding a balloony pony?
Fan service heavy anime tend to follow similar tropes.
I hate Evangelion, and the fact that he keeps stroking it like it's the best thing ever makes me wonder if somebody needs to check his hard drive. Oh boy, Ace sends me more. What did you send me, Ace? I saw Ace. I already saw you ping everybody in your server for it.
If you pick up a modern harem anime, you're pretty much expecting to see the same stock characters you'd see in, say, Love Hina 20 years prior. Whenever a type of fan service anime gets popular.
Yeah, they're called tropes. Mr. Media Literacy doesn't understand tropes, I guess. You're going to see the same characters everywhere. In fact, here, I'll give you guys an idea, all right? I want you to listen, right? There's a team of 5. They're multicolored, right? They all wear a specific color. There's one that's the goody two-shoes, and he's the leader. There's another one that's the bad boy. He toes the line. Then you have the empathetic female one, who's very motherly, but also a love interest. Then you have the big guy, who's a master mechanic, who's very strong, but also very kind. And then you have the one that's a little, maybe ADHD, a little childish, maybe likes video games. What did I just talk about? Tell me in the chat what you think I just talked about. Let me see if any of you can guess it. Let me see if any of you can guess what I'm talking about. Let's see if you guys can. With the lag as much as it is for whatever reason. So, we have Voltron. We have Power Rangers. I love the, I'm Scottish. I love that one. Love RPM, by the way. Thundercats. Yeah. Kamen Rider. To a point. There's not often more than one Kamen Rider in any series, from what I understand. Transformers Animated. But you know what I was actually referring to? That none of you have ever been able to name right here? Finally, Pastel UFOs got it. Knowing you also, G-Force technically, Gatchaman. Right? Because they're tropes. They're formats that every story falls into in one way or another, depending on the story you're making. Ta-da! And the fact that people are even listening to things like She-Ra in the chat. Come on, people. Come on. Or, apparently, Big Time Rush. I've never even watched that. But see what I mean? Mind blown. Oh no, Ant has to deal with tropes.
Duplicates will come.
Now I want to be very clear. I want to make this very, very clear. I don't care that Anthony is a grifting media critic who calls out other grifting media critics. Well, those people do need to be called out, and it is really fun to call them out. I'm not going to deny that. The main problem is what he justifies, what he excuses, what he turns a blind eye to, and what he lies about. Because unlike people like him, who are more interested in whether or not Lily Orchard said something bad about an anime he liked and whatnot, I'm more concerned with the fact that Lily is a kid toucher, and I'm more concerned with the fact that he looks the other way for kid touchers, and then makes videos like this that makes me wonder if he is one.
The copy of success. Sword Art Online's harem subplot, it gets popular. Now every isekai anime will have a harem. That one sus humiliation manga is popular. Well, now you can get a million manga about bullying. You know what? I get it.
Wait, hold
Sometimes
on.
Back up. Great material. Success. Sword Art Online's harem subplot, it gets popular. Now every isekai anime will have a harem. That one sus humiliation manga is popular.
Sus. It's just sus. It wasn't written by a guy who did like a porn manga of chimps raping a child. No, it's just sus. What is wrong with this guy?
Well, now you can get a million manga about bullying. You know what? I get it. Sometimes following the leader results in some great material. If everyone didn't jump into the isekai bandwagon after Sword Art Online, we'd never get Konosuba. And Konosuba only works because it parodies the now familiar tropes of isekai, while also adding memorable characters that themselves are...
Was he just playing a clip where a minor character is grinding on a staff? What is wrong with this guy? He's not talking about the mainstream stuff you see on Toonami, a lot of stuff you'd rather see on the Hub Show say a lot. His video is very telling and it's disgusting. Yeah, I can tell that. Like, okay, congratulations. We got some good media out off of people repeating things. What is it? Philippians talks about there's nothing new under the sun. Congratulations. Did you actually live through the 90s? Did you live through the 90s where we had things like Ninja Turtles and Street Sharks and Biker Mice from Mars? Come on.
Parodies of classic RPG tropes.
You wish to defile me, don't you?
But for a lot of modern fan service out there, it's not parodying, it's not satirizing, it's not adding, it's just copying. And I find that boring.
Which is what... Satirizing and parody is a form of copying. But why are you upset? You should be saying upset that it's copying. You should be upset that it exists at all. Look, dude, I'm 30. I don't want to see a 13-year-old's breasts. Are you out of your mind? Anime Sniper for $5. Japan is the reason anime heavily takes place in high school, because high school, the last vestiges of youth, is the expression of what they wish high school was. Probably.
Boring. And my reasoning being is that it's safe. It follows formulas that you have seen 100 times a season. It doesn't go extreme or wild enough. It doesn't stray from the formula enough to be interesting. And it's just...
Why do you want fan service primarily involving high school girls to be more extreme? Why did nobody clock this? Because here was one of my frustrations back when things started in April of last year with Grimugula, and we'll get onto that later. I was telling people to make the main thing the main thing. Make Sai's server the main thing. Make this deranged lunatic's defending of it the main thing, and nobody did. The only place that was allowed was in the Abstract podcast, where I was allowed to talk about it a little bit, which Anthony, by the way, proceeds to claim is me talking about him on stream for hours at an end. No. Idiot.
Especially true for harem anime. For the purposes of this video, I went on my anime list and broke down the list of 2023 anime labeled under harem. Of the 15 harem anime released in 2023, 6 took place in school, 7 were either isekai or reincarnation stories, and only 2 featured adult characters, and one of them was Rent a Girlfriend Season 3. Of all of them, the one that stands out to me is the 100 Girlfriends Who Really Love You, both for its outrageous premise that a boy is blessed with 100 soulmates in high school, and...
I've only seen one thing from this anime that amused me, and I did retweet it, and I know nothing about this series, but it's the fact that they recreated silly little dances with some of the characters. Like the Happy Cat, the Hiccup dance, and like the other little dancing thing. That's it.
A surprising character dynamic between all of them. I feel the most successful fanservice anime are the ones that tell really good stories first, and show fanservice second.
Or you could just tell really good stories without fanservice, especially when it involves high schoolers. I mean, that's an idea. I like that idea. It's a great idea. I'm happy to be a part of it.
The universe needs a new champion. And she needs some peace and quiet.
I know, hot take. Good storytelling is good. Chaoaticz balances out its sci-fi premise of a future where everyone has a personal computer. Wait, hold on a second, that's not a fantasy. With the premise of a lonely pre-college student being stuck with a cute girl who idolizes him. Yeah, that's the fantasy right there. Chaoaticz centers on hapless loser Hideki, a poor guy who just wants to get into college. He can't afford a Persicom, a personal computer/cute android that everyone seems to have. So it's a miracle when he just finds a custom-built one in the trash. Add to that, she doesn't function like normal Persicoms. She's infantile in some ways. She seemingly has no operating system, no data, and might be tied up with a series of Persicoms told about in rumors, the Chaoaticz. The series focuses on Hideki teaching Chi how to function in society, while also coming to realize he might have feelings for an android. But as everyone in the show points out, androids can't really love, they're just programmed to react to inputs. Except Chi seems to have more self-awareness than other Persicoms, and it's clearly making her feel isolated. Chaoaticz balances out sex humor and hijinks with existentialism in pursuit of identity in an...
I'm not even going to tell you how creepy that entire premise is. Anime Sniper for $5. Also, Nagatoro is a result of Nanashi being purified by after writing Naruhina. I don't know what anything you just said means. Look, I get that there might be some wish fulfillment fantasy, right? About, you know, being adored by some random girl. I wouldn't recommend it. It always ends poorly. They usually tend to be psycho. So maybe don't want that in life. But essentially what this would break down for me if I were to watch it, being, you know, in my 40s, is I don't want to raise somebody I have to date. That is gross and weird and freaking gross.
Increasingly digitized world, where human traits become collateral exchange between isolated, lonely individuals. Despite starting breezy in light with some very overt fan service, you see a real darkness to this world, one that isolates and deeply traumatizes its characters. Now, when I was reading and watching Chaoaticz, my local library had a second manga that they recommended alongside Chaoaticz, Deers. And they have a lot in common. The Deers manga started a year after Chaoaticz. Both were made by critically acclaimed manga teams.
And it had nothing to do with deer. We didn't get that until Shika Noko 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 Koshtan Tan. And the fact that I even know what that is kind of ridiculous.
Got this start in Dogen, Clamp, and Peach Pit, respectively. Deers is about aliens that crash land on Earth and become dear friends to humanity, essentially serving them in a way that seems a lot like how Persicoms serve people, except the aliens are sentient and not programmed robots. But again, what are you gonna do? Our protagonist, Takea, discovers a Deers that's just lying on the side of the road. He takes her in. She's this kind of infantile, kind of dependent character. Her name's Ren, and as Ren learns more about society, she goes close to the Okay, listen, yeah, Ren is cheap. The same character. It's the same premise, just with aliens. Android have pre-programmed reactions.
Mamarazzi for $10. Nurse, you got out? Yeah, you did.
Aliens are living people. Having them occupy the same niche in society is a little strange, don't you think? But again, what are you gonna do? And I feel like at this time I should mention Elfen Lied, since both it and Chaoaticz are infantile protagonists with little triangles sticking out of their heads who become dependent on the main character, and fanservice hijinks ensue. Though Elfen Lied at least is memorable because of the sheer chapter-to-chapter whiplash between typical harem antics and extreme violence. Actually, no crap, it's been 20 years since Elfen Lied came out. Tell me if you make a video about Elfen Lied in the comments. I would do it if you ask. But yeah.
Please don't. We don't need another mushmouth sophist going on about that anime.
Yeah, Chaoaticz is first and foremost a sci-fi story with fanservice in it. Elfen Lied is a horror story, Frankenstein with a harem story. And Deers is just sort of a fanservice anime with sci-fi elements stitched on that aren't really well thought out. I feel like this offers a good hierarchy of what I like. The more fanservice feels like a spice rather than the main course, the better I think it does.
If anime is a spice, I would unironically prefer boiled chicken. And every person with any amount of melanin in their skin felt like a shock in the force when I said that.
It helps to elevate a plot rather than become the plot.
Alright then, now one last time. Tell me what are you going to be saying to the sales clerk?
Underpants, thank you, please.
I reviewed an anime called Chaoaticz 20th anniversary a little while back. Kaoru is the heir of the Hanabishi Zaibatsu, a major conglomerate. He was set to marry Aoi Sakuraba, the only daughter of the Sakuraba department store chain. But Kaoru ran away from home because frankly his family is just the worst. However, Aoi has harbored a deep love for Kaoru, and years later reconnects to rekindle their romance.
For 18 years, I've been waiting patiently for this moment.
Kaoru refuses to return to his family, so their romance would cause a massive scandal if it came to light. So Aoi and her family come up with a solution. Aoi and her caretaker, Miyabi, have this big summer mansion. They hire Kaoru as a living servant there, so they can be together in secret without anyone looking too closely into it.
Okay. Algamonte 1 for $5. Chaoaticz is not creepy. It's generally a great romance story. I'll take your word for it, but the way he talked about the premise sounds really creepy to me.
However, because Kaoru is secretly with Aoi, that makes him seemingly fair game to the harem that materializes around him. I want to compare this quickly with Love Hina, because both...
Okay, you could write a story like that, where the guy has to, like, navigate his faithfulness. Like, I get that, and why that might be interesting to read. But then you throw up this garbage. Like, could you at least censor that? There's no way that's an adult.
Both came out at the same time. Revisiting Aoyashi, I expect...
Oh wait, no, that was, I guess. Either way, I still didn't want to see it on a YouTube video.
...to be really critical of it. But I found myself really admiring the show still. It did have flaws, certainly, especially with the character Tina, who at times skirts the line of the predatory bisexual stereotype. But despite the issues,
there's a stereotype of predatory bisexuals? So that's where Sai got it from. $2 from Anime Sniper. Got introduced to Kim Limped Art by Elfen Lied opening. I don't know what that means, but I'm glad you got introduced to something, I guess.
I really like this one. And I think that's because, again, this is a romance series with elements of fanservice sprinkled in.
I am not perfect, but I hope you will learn to accept me.
There's one recurring quote-unquote joke where Aoi wants to bathe with Kaoru. Specifically, she wants to wash his back. But Kaoru refuses to let her. And the first time this happens to play for laugh, we later learn that Kaoru's awkwardness is because he doesn't want Aoi to see all the scars he's accumulated thanks to his abusive family.
Yeah, but at the same time, like, that's really weird to just walk into somebody bathing like it's okay without asking for consent. Die. It
really forces you to reappraise the earlier jokes with this new context. Yes, there's sexual fanservice, but there's a lot of tragedy at play here. Compare this to Love Hina, a show where...
Well, guys, we need to give the sexual fanservice in-depth story. It's the type of guy who probably goes on Pornhub and then critiques the pornography for not having enough of a plot, instead of just rejecting the pornography as a whole.
The central conflict barely feeds into the plot on an episode-by-episode basis. Love Hina's main conflict, at first, is getting loser Keitaro into Tokyo University. Things complicate when he ends up becoming the manager of an all-girls dorm, filled with characters with their own unique quirks and hijinks. And he wants to get into Tokyo U because he and a childhood friend...
Why would anybody make a guy the manager of an all-girls dorm? That just sounds like it's made for failure. Absolutely insane. Like, this is one reason why there's a lot of these animes I just can't get behind. The suspension of disbelief there just isn't there for me, as opposed to, like, a fantasy series. Gilded Pooh, WTF for this? This is a 30-year-old being upset that fan service in a high school girl anime isn't as good as he wants it to be.
Promised one another they'd get in together. All of these core conflicts, getting into Tokyo U, the childhood friend, managing the dorm, are sidelined for the hijinks, which is disappointing because there's a lot of meat to the story, and we're getting force-fed seasoning. It doesn't help when you compare the two. You see immediately that Ai Yoriyashi focuses on how the bonds people share can help you recover from trauma, while Love Hina is fixated on traumatizing Keitaro.
The bonds people can share can help people recover from trauma. I mean, it depends on the trauma. Even bringing up anime like Mononoke, Perfect Blue, Paprika, and are incredibly beautiful and deal with serious subject matter. He's talking about the creepy material he's into. Also true.
Seriously, Naru is a complete monster. People compare her to earlier tsundere like Akane from Ranma 1/2 or Asuka from Evangelion, but they miss the point. When Akane hits Ranma, Ranma can handle it. They're both martial artists. They communicate through violence. Asuka is a deeply traumatized young girl. You know what? Let's put a pin in this right now. Let's put Asuka aside.
I wish I could communicate with Anthony through violence, but he'll never show up.
Get back to her later. I guarantee you. Don't worry. We'll go back to Asuka. But
fan service is half the problem with anime. Correct.
Naru, she's just an abusive jerk. I don't want to see Keitaro end up with her because she's so violent towards him. The other thing is that Ai Yoriyashi.
This man would die if you watched the original Mazinger.
She has a harem, but we know Aoi and Kaoru are going to end up together. The conflict comes from other people entering their life, not knowing the romance, and kind of impeding on their romance in some way. Unintentionally. Every character is likable because they're not trying to force themselves on Kaoru. They just think he's a guy and they like him. Whereas Love Hina, we can figure out who the childhood friend is very quickly. And it's all just spinning the wheels until they tell us what we already know. But I keep using 20-year-old anime as a reference point. We need a more modern example. We gotta be relevant on YouTube nowadays. My Dress Up Darling. Premise? High schooler Wakana Gojo is an introverted boy, possibly autistic I think, who loves making Hina dolls, and this draws the attention of Marin, an energetic classmate of his who has an unfulfilled passion for cosplaying. Marin asks Wakana to help design costumes for her, based on her favorite games and anime. The two seem like polar opposites, drawn together by a mutual passion, and soon, they genuinely start to care for one another, resulting in what at first seems like a friendship before blossoming into a romance. While the show excels at letting its lovable, socially awkward leads be cute together, it possibly wouldn't have drawn as huge an audience without some strategic fan service in the first episode. And
Yeah, which is creepy. It's creepy. It's just creepy. Slow mode, I don't know what slow mode means, but I'll slow it down for you, I guess. Like, that was the problem with Dress Up Darling. There's just a bunch of, hey, let's sexualize the teenage girl character. Very smart. Very smart.
And again, it's spice, not the main course. The main course is the friendship that blossoms into a romance, as well as the beautiful costumes that Marin wears. But more focus is put into the sheer joy Marin feels wearing these costumes than how Marin necessarily looks in them. The show also really does something I think is surprisingly uncommon in these fan service shows, exploring the intricacies of an intimate sexual relationship.
I don't know what chat slow mode means. I'm sorry, Julie. I am a boomer. But don't worry, I'm sniping the idiot when he shows up.
Sounds like Slippery Girls might be like an adult game.
Yeah, that's what a role game means.
My Dress Up Darling really threads a needle on this one, especially because of the healthy dose of social awkwardness mixed in with these two characters. They're clumsy, goofy, insecure, hesitant, and it's on full display. And that manages to add both...
You can have that with the characters just being flirty without making, like, reference to genitalia and sexual positions. What is wrong with this 30-year-old man?
conflict of the story and realism, which...
Heck, you could even have this for both adults if you really needed to go that way. But nope, gotta make it to high school, kids.
manages to make the show feel both more interesting and more sincere. And when I say sexual relationships, I don't mean actually having sex. I don't mean nudity. I don't mean intercourse. I mean the awkwardness of exploring that kind of relationship with someone else. That's very difficult to do right. It can easily become either exploitative or cheesy.
I guess I'm just surprised that girl...
You could just not do it. Hula Dancer for $5. Clicked on stream for a distraction instead of getting flashbacks of every... Actually, it's okay because conversation I've had to sit through about anime. True. True.
even play games like that, much less enjoy them.
Oh, please, of course we do.
But you know what? Enough of this vanilla garbage. Let's get interesting. Let's get outrageous. Mysterious Girlfriend X is a litmus test
The fact that he used Gundam Seed's a red flag.
for how weird you can...
Basso UFOs for $5. I do love I was able to call you on Gotchamon. Sounded about right to be your choice example in that scenario the most. Mr. Peepaw. True. True.
handle a fan service manga. And how tame...
Okay, so my friend Michael at Retro Blasting actually watched this anime and did an entire video bullying it. He didn't sit there and go on about how, well, you know, the fan service needs to be better, or the fan service is good. It's like, this is actually gross and weird, and I'm going to make fun of you for it. Anime Sniper for another $5. A cold opening. My Dress Up Darling is huge with the lady audience. Most of the story actually focuses on romance and cosplay. And I was like, why is he focusing on the weird parts?
So much modern fan services. I mean, I love My Dress Up Darling. It's a sincere romance. It's beautiful. Two socially awkward characters. But Mysterious Girlfriend X, let's just say it's a Slurpee premise.
Kill yourself.
I'm saying they drink drool. It is the spit drinking manga. If there are 50 fan service shows out there that are pulling the same tricks as Love Hina, there is one that's...
You know what? More anime needs to be like Fist of the North Star. Alright? Just be like Fist of the North Star.
something really weird, and then that inspires imitators. But I don't think Mysterious Girlfriend X has inspired all that many imitators. It's kind of niche. The one that did inspire imitators? Oremo. Yeah, seriously, after Oremo, how many Little Sister mangas and anime and light novels came out? How many of them were made by the same guy? Oremo...
I don't know, because I wouldn't keep track of that garbage. Good lord, that is gross. Guys, how much of this porn got brought out? Die. Let's see here. Need to make sure somebody didn't do something goofy in the chat. I'm not seeing anything goofy. Back to what I'm doing.
and Ero Manga Sensei are both light novels turned anime that start with some promise, some good ideas. There are some genuinely interesting interpersonal conflicts.
Okay, so if the premise, the very premise of your story, because I know what he's referring to. The premise of your story, for one, is girl attracted to older brother. What? And then the other one is little sister, like little girl sister, is a erotic manga artist. What makes you think either of these premises are promising? Unless you're a creep. I'm sorry, but no.
At play here. But it doubles down on the trash factor, hard and fast. And here's the wild thing. I don't hate these shows. They're so
Correct, FBI open up.
trashy that their awfulness implodes upon itself, creating
Guild of $50, ban all anime and imprison anime fans. Fix, not quite, unfortunately, because there's plenty of this type of garbage in the States, too.
a black hole of quality that one can only bask and stare at and marvel at. It is a self-sustaining dumpster fire. I would never say any of these shows are good.
Pastel UFOs for $5. Realizing this series is the one a creepy guy as high school tried to defend me once years ago. You is a good response to that.
But they are memorable. And that's something that so many of these other disposable copies can't claim. With fan service, you have unlimited potential. Keijo is a sports anime that centers on women knocking each other over using their hips and butts. It turns fan service into a tournament arc. The thing with these shows...
And this is a good thing to him.
...is that the premise and fan service, or fan disservice in the case of Mysterious Girlfriend X, has to tie into the plot. Ties in with Mysterious Girlfriend...
Or you can just not have it at all and just be decent.
For X, it's a romance story. But these two weirdos. Keijo is a tournament arc. Or Reimo, that's the core conflict. High School of the Dead, however, has some ridiculous fan service, and none of it connects to what should be a dire plot. There's a zombie apocalypse going, and more people remember that scene where the bullet travels between the one girl's breasts than anything else that happened in the show. One of the most infamous fan service anime ever.
Yeah, that's the problem. The fan service didn't serve the story. Not that it exists to begin with. No, it's the fact that it didn't serve the story. That's the die.
Is Aiken. It's a 2-episode OVA based on a much longer manga. And it is so dull. It is so dull. It is a drag. Nothing happens. The premise is girls with massively bloated boobs. That's it. That's the gimmick. Just big boobs. It wears thin very fast.
Herbert.
I started getting into this with My Dress Up Darling, but a lot of fan service, despite being focused on big talent.
But I'm the one with the most talent here.
It feels strangely sexually conservative. The protagonists don't ever make a move on one another.
Well, we can't have anything conservative. This guy might lose his mind.
They don't feel that uncomfortable urge for intimacy, or engage with how that complicates relationships. They're just pining, they're staring, they're looking, they're oogling. But they don't engage with the complications of sexual relationships.
Yes, as you show a pedophile on screen. Fantastic.
And that's something we didn't really see as much in older anime. Legendary anime director and Gundam creator Yoshiyuki Tomino has expressed dissatisfaction with the sexless nature of popular anime. When asked about Makoto Shinkai's films, Tomino said that Shinkai's work are often described as stories about a boy and a girl who are always stretching out their hands towards each other. And he then added, and yet the boy's hand never reaches the girl's crotch.
Yeah, and he probably needs to be put in the shed. Look, I like Gundam. I'm not going to justify creepy things said by anybody, much less the guy who made Gundam. Rin for $10 sends me a log and an axe. Do you mean wood chipper? Because if so, I agree.
Herbert.
To elaborate, Tomino continues, a lot of people could relate to the feelings of yearning depicted when these characters ask and are asked, what is your name? But even if the characters possess wholesome feelings of admiration, they don't take that step towards declaring love and touching the other's body. That pent-up, unresolved feeling is connected to Tokyo's submerged state. I was surprised that so many people could relate to a resolution like that, to the extent of
I don't want to see nobody be touching bodies. What's wrong with this guy?
pouring over 10 billion yen into the box office.
Because there's like a difference between like a sweet kiss and what he's being described here. That's just gross.
Tomino comes from a different era. Back in the 80s and 90s, anime like Ninja Scroll, Wicked City, Cyber City 08088, Violence Jack, Doubleman did not hold back at all.
You wouldn't recognize a goddamn vampire if one jumped up and bit you on the end of your fucking dick.
While they
Yeah, didn't all those things also involve adults?
seem to be more fan service content nowadays, all of it feels
He was joking. Where's the joke?
unremarkably tame compared to what we saw back in the 80s and 90s. And that's really underwhelming because you would think these stories would build on what came before, not regress. While these stories were exploitative, they told stories beyond the fan service, and often the fan service could be downright unpleasant. But now, it's relatively safe. It's not shocking. It's not controversial.
The word you're looking for is normalized. It's been normalized. And you're complaining that it's not normalized enough.
You rarely see anything too extreme or mature, unless it's hentai. And I don't feel like making a video essay about Metamorphosis today. But Metamorphosis is kind of what I want to see more in fan service. Really shocking, really upsetting, unpleasant, disturbing, but meaningful.
So this is what Sai has been banging on about. And if it was anybody but Sai, it'd be a bigger point. He wants more media like the torture porn, sex trafficking a teenage girl porn manga Metamorphosis. He wants more stories like that. He wants more stories like a high school girl getting sexually abused and trafficked. And for the record, this story isn't trying to paint some idea about how terrible this is. It's all for sexual gratification of weirdos. It is a pornographic manga. That's its purpose. And here he is saying he wants more of that. I wonder how many copies of Cuties this guy has on his PC. Like, I want you to think, does that sound sane to you? Does that sound sane to you? Because it certainly doesn't to me. Doesn't sound sane, doesn't sound rational, and doesn't sound decent. I cannot sit there and imagine it. You know what? No wonder this guy didn't actually take any issues, for the most part, with Lily Orchard outside of her media criticisms. He probably reads Stockholm every other day. It's like, well, I think this needs to have more impact emotionally on it. I need to see more of the child diddling in the aspect of the stories. I need to see more of that. Come on! So here's what I'm going to do for you guys. Dean Draxler for $5. The fact that this guy thinks that romance might end with them touching one another like that is honestly sad. Relationships are more than that. Yes, as kitschy as A Walk to Remember is, you don't need to go as far as these animes do, okay? So let me pull up something in the folder I have here. Because I have a folder of screen caps. I want to make sure I get the right link, right thing here. Boop. So, I don't know how many of you have seen it, but one's in the chat if you've seen the 2007 CGI Ninja Turtle film. One in chat if you have. Again, just one in the chat if you have. Ren for $10. By the way, I hate that it was normalized to me when I was a child and D.A. Ranter that Metamorphosis was good writing rather than that. Yeah, it's almost like the D.A. Ranter community is full of kid touchers. Shadowstar for $5. Remember, the real ending to Metamorphosis is the Josuke ending. I don't know what that means. Okay, so I see a lot of ones in the chat. Good. It was a fun movie. So there was a prequel comic of Leonardo getting to where he needed to be to train, right? Because the entire movie starts with April going to recover him because he's been training for his family and he needs to come home. There is a comic where he boards a ship and finds out that the ship is trafficking children. Now keep in mind, this isn't Mirage Ninja Turtles. This is the prequel comic for a 2007 movie. Come on, work with me, chat. Right? That's the point. Thank you, Baiji. You got him when I couldn't. So we have a panel here, and it tells a story. It's got the girl looking sad. The next panel over, I know you guys can't see it very well. We have been sold into slavery. We shall be sold again. To adults. Do you understand? To adults. And Leonardo's response is, over my dead body. And then, the next panel over, we see the result of Leonardo responding to that. It is a very mature aspect of something, a horrible thing that happens in reality. It doesn't sit there and tee-hee it, but it also doesn't give you graphic imagery of what was happening to these children. It just shows you a child talking about how they went through it, what was going on, and the appropriate response to the people who have done these things, with Leonardo unironically covered in their blood as it lays on the floor. I'm sorry, that is mature storytelling that is not exploitative and doesn't sit there and say, hi guys, isn't this actually hot? Die.
I'd rather be upset with a piece of art than feel nothing after finishing it. Also, something else older shows have.
Yozo Ramako for $2. Chibi reviews advises the guy. No, because Ant is left wing and Chibi's right wing, so they clearly can't get along.
It's very important. Adults, people with different body types. I love the kind of woman that will actually.
Look, I'm not going to complain about Chun-Li, but still, not the best argument to make. Anime Sniper for another $5. Funny thing about Metamorphosis is that it's rancid enough that even the Gooners prefer the JoJo ending. That's pretty bad.
Just kill me. Fantasy anime, in particular isekai, have become so entrenched in fanservice that some people were stunned when not one but two mainstream anime this year, Free Ren and Delicious in Dungeon, released back-to-back without focusing on extreme fanservice. Unless you count food shots as fanservice, in which case, Delicious in Dungeon has plenty of fanservice.
Oh, it's almost like you can do it without that. And if you have two standouts that are doing it without that and they're doing better than everybody else, I wonder what lesson can be learned from that.
Fantasy anime has undergone a great shift over the years, dominated by JRPG mechanics.
There's no better fantasy anime than the Chronicles of Narnia.
Stock characters, and fanservice. The familiar, meant to make each work accessible to the largest demographic possible. Also slaves.
Shield you, I'll take this one.
It feels more like the writers are capturing the fantasy of its audience to have a degree of control over the world, increasingly outside their control. And that's one of the big appeals of the harem genre, I know, having tons of beautiful women interested in you, but this takes away their ability to...
Dude, that sounds miserable. Ask Vlad.
choose to be with someone. It feels like really weird wish fulfillment, more than a well-constructed fantasy world. Maybe that's why a lot of these shows don't actually engage in intimacy, because intimacy means...
Thank you, Creative Comics, for the $1 super chat.
Teams surrendering control. Some shows like Redo of Healer have this real cruel streak in them too. It's unpleasant and misanthropic. It's a lot of assault, a lot of abuse.
But you were sitting there propping up Metamorphosis. $5. I need to buy it into Lyo's Towden. I know he takes like a Rice Krispie treat. God, what a man. Truly, I'm getting the spray bottle out on you. Leave the anime boy alone.
It's just not fun to
anime man, but still.
Watch.
What?
While all this fan service feels predictable, there is one subgenre that is overflowing with creativity, and it usually has some of the best fan service I've ever seen. And I'm gonna be honest, I do love this stuff. The Monster Girl series.
Die. Gilded Poo for $2. Fun fact, this wasn't an issue during Jim Crow. Actually, it was, Vlad. It actually was, believe it or not. I know you're trying to upset people and be edgy, but it actually was a problem during the Jim Crow era.
Monsters offer character designers a gift. Reinterpret tons of classic monsters and fiends from fantasy mythology as cute girls. It's a character designer's dream, and anyone who loves creative character design, these are the shows I love, because you get to see all the creativity on display. This is one of the reasons why the recently announced plus-sized elf anime has my interest. There's a ton of
well, considering the fact that apparently you got caught in like a weight gain server for Stardew Valley, yeah, I'm sure it does get your interest, big boy.
Goofy characters, they're all designed in interesting fashions, and it's also clear that the manga creator has a preference that, like with Mysterious Girlfriend X, definitely stands out. Oh, and the most important part, the characters are adults. But among all of...
It only took him 26 minutes of a 31-minute video to get to that point. Dean Draxon for $5. Delicious Dungeon does have fan service, but it's a grown man Cincy, so Ant won't count it. I'll take your word for it. Julie for $2. What if you left him alone with me? What you do in your free time is your business, not mine. The less I know about it, the better off I am, and the better my sanity is. Why is there a skitty in the thumbnail? We will show you later. That's for later in the stream.
Of these monster harems, there is a champion, a savior, interspecies reviewers.
Die.
I adore this series. This is the gold standard. It's a shameless plot with a simple conflict that services the fan service. And it's so outrageous, so shameless, so everything at once, that it transcends genre into becoming perfection. And yet it proved so hard to market, both in Japan and the West.
Because it's so degenerate, nobody wants to touch it. But he's a big fan of it. Gee, I wonder why. Nick's Moon for $5. So why don't they have characters with the top half and fish and bottom half human half? You know why. Lou for $5. Forgot to link the GoFundMe, old man, as it pinned it in the link. Actually, it should be in the pinned link. It's pinned. It's right there. You just need to click on it. Archer for $2. Lyo is media illiterate. Grug not know complexities of the Odyssey, but Grug know when something bad and wrong. So Grug hit with stick. Grimace Hollow for $10. This makes me miss the anime of the 90s. Personally, I've not seen anything good since the days of Ghost in the Shell and Cowboy Bebop.
Services took it off their services. No one wants to get this PR disaster that was interspecies reviewers, and so no one has really tried even attempting to copy it since it came out. It stands apart.
Because it's porn. It's just maybe softcore porn, but still just porn.
It's also fascinating when you see a fan service show aimed for female audiences, because all of the show is about intimacy. It's often about people touching each other's faces.
Gilded Poo for $2. Anime wasn't a problem in America during Jim Crow. It actually was! I will fight you!
Developing and forging relationships. Seriously.
Also, calling it now. Grimigula is going to focus on Vlad saying edgy things to upset people instead of the arguments I'm making against him.
Watch a shoujo anime, and then watch a fan servicey shonen anime, back to back.
Watch a shoujo anime and then a fan servicey one back. Why would I watch anything fan servicey? I'm 40.
Difference is stark. Compare Sword Art Online to the classic shoujo isekai series, Fushigi Yugi.
I'm going to instead read Chronicles of Narnia. I guess part of the Book of Revelation could be considered an isekai, depending on where you are.
It's in many ways the exact opposite of modern isekai. And much of its fan service bits are shirtless men protecting women, or fighting over their loves, or holding one another. There's a lot of face-touching and kind, protective smiles. Something similar happens in anime like Free and Yuri on Ice. So here's the thing. I'm kind of old for an anime fan on the internet. I'm in my 30s. Most of the shows I'm championing on here are about adults in mature relationships or coming-of-age stories.
No, they're not mostly about adults. You said young people coming of age. Just say children. You're talking about minors. That's what you're talking about. There is no amount of fancy words you can use to change that. You're just trying to bury the lead.
Not so much the shameless fan service you see season to season. So many of the shows that I would watch and not examine as a teen, I come back to now and just feel uncomfortable watching. My perspective's shifted. It's understandable. What was good for someone at some point in their life may not be good for them later on.
Or maybe it wasn't good at all, and the fact that you were just a horny teenager doesn't mean you should sit there and glorify these things. Instead, you should recognize it was a problem you watching it, that it's damaged your mental state, and instead you shouldn't be engaging with it in a positive manner at all. I'm sorry, did I just make too much sense?
And I think the best anime that encapsulates this discomfort deliberately is a Gainax series, the one that started the Gainax bounce, Evangelion.
Kill yourself.
Sorry! You deviant! Why do all boys have to be such a bunch of perverted jerks?
I know, Evangelion is the gold standard for all anime, all animation and all that. But
if anybody actually thinks that Evangelion is the gold standard for anime, they need to have their hard drive checked. And I want to be very clear, I'm not making a joke. I am deadly serious. People sat there and thought it was the deepest thing in the world. No, it's not. It's sophistry. It's about as deep as a kiddie pool. Which is interesting, because the guy who wrote it seems to really like making children half naked, or to have his movie open with the breasts of a 15-year-old and then another 15-year-old jacking off into his own hands, and people want to pretend that's deep instead of creepy. I'm going to be real blunt. That director needs to be one of two places. Either in a jail cell, or with bullets rattling around his skull 6 feet underground. And I know that's going to upset this weird little freak. It's going to upset a lot of Evangelion fans, but if it was just a show about weird mecha and nothing more, we wouldn't be having this conversation. We wouldn't be talking about the fact that they sexualize the children, or the fact that Misato is a predator. And you can sit there and go on, well, she wasn't actually attracted to Shinji. She was just trying to get his attention. I'm sorry, I wasn't aware that somebody being a pedophile was dependent on a romantic attraction instead of just being sexual with them. Silly me!
I think it's odd looking at how the show markets its characters and figurines and such, versus how it presents them in the show.
Because they know what they're doing. They know they have sexualized these characters in the show. They know they have titillated their adult audiences with these minors, and so they're going to put out merchandise like that for idiots like you, because they know what you are.
And don't worry, I'm not going to be making any passes at him.
Yeah, let me go ahead and joke about being a pedophile. That's going to be real smart. Which, by the way, Anthony here is okay when somebody pretends to be a pedophile, and we'll see that very shortly.
Some people don't have any sense of humor.
Ava's early episodes end with Misato promising fan service that doesn't ever come.
She doesn't promise fan service. She talks about how she's going to give Shinji an adult kiss because she knows he wants her. That's not fan service. That's predation. You're a creep. Anime Sniper for $5. To be honest, I grew up with even worse parental controls, and yet I'm not degenerate. Karikano was my first favorite, and watched Shoujo. I've seen that one. I don't know how the director made that in Evangelion. I have no clue how he went from one to the other. Junkfish for $5. Weird Bloodborne walkthrough stream ever. True. There will be no blood or boring here. People think Misato isn't a pedo? Yeah, people have argued it.
Instead, we get goofy scenes early on that increasingly become less...
Like, I was arguing with some dude about how Evangelion's creep and it's pedophile fic. He's like, yeah, let's just remove all the impact about what these scenes mean. I'm like, yeah, we could just, I don't know, have some imagination and not be weird about kids. Must be really hard for this weirdo who writes this stuff, huh?
Less goofy.
Thoughts on Darlene Franks? Freaky, weird, and Gal Gaigar's better.
Misato laying around her apartment? Entertaining. Misato opening up to Kaji about how she uses sex as an escape from her personal problems? Uncomfortable. Seeing Misato using sex as an escape? Voyeuristic.
For the record, Anthony here has made it clear he identifies with Misato, so take that as you will.
Invasive.
Wasn't Eva made by high schoolers? No, it was not. It was made by a grown man. In fact, that grown man went to high schools.
Charming soon becomes a very unpleasant reflection of her inner turmoil.
Go to church!
But Misato is also an adult. It's way more disturbing when something like this happens with the youngest character in the cast.
Mama.
Asuka, the whole series, wants to be seen as an adult, and a lot of attention is drawn to her body in some shots, including one scene...
Gee, I wonder why.
I'm sure the guy who made Plus Size Elf probably enjoyed it.
You mean the guy who you probably enjoy as well? I know what you are.
But this gets less charming as the series continues, and we understand that Asuka's drive to appear more adult is born from her incredible anxieties. One of the most disturbing scenes in the show is where she has an emotional breakdown right before going in the shower. It's heartbreaking and sad to watch her in such a state, and we're just voyeurs to it. It illustrates the reality behind fan service, forcing us to confront the painful side of intimacy.
You can talk about the painful side of intimacy without sexualizing children.
Fine. The show goes...
I'm sorry, but you can't big brain intellectualize creepy behavior towards kids. And if you try to, you need to be having the old Yeller treatment given to you immediately.
You want to look at some people? Well, let's look at them at their worst possible moments.
I am a grown-up!
No, you are not a grown-up. Go to the corner.
So, is there a point to this? I'd say yes. Fan service is fine when it's the spice of your story, but often overtakes the substance underlying an
Fan service is not fine. It's gross, weird, and creepy, and so are you.
narrative. There's unlimited potential in fiction, yet so many people are content to recycle the same premise, same tropes, and same styles over and over and over again. I don't think fan service should be something we mindlessly consume. We should demand more from our trashy fun anime, more creativity, more outrageous material, more, sometimes, uncomfortable storytelling. But we also need better character writing and sincere development. The best fan service shows either find that balance between the corny and the sincere, or go so far into the stratosphere that it becomes legendary.
Die. Warhawk for $2. Thoughts on Berserk and Shin Godzilla. Berserk has a lot to it that's very, very valuable. It does approach things like trauma very well. The only issue I have with Berserk on the aspect of what we're talking about now is I think that the Lost Children arc is severely garbage in a lot of ways for the reasons you know I want to talk about. You know that. Shin Godzilla, I get what he was getting at, but God, Hideaki Anno needs to die. And I know he's going to upset a bunch of weebs, and they're going to come in here, oh, how dare you say that about the great Anno. No, I make no apologies. I don't care if he's from Japan. I'm just going to be the guy. I'm just going to be that guy for just a second. I do not want to hear, nor do I care for it. Well, the culture is different there. This is a country that went from unironic swords and spears as their main form of weaponry to being a world military superpower in what, 40, 60 years? But they only outlawed the creation of child pornography in 1999, and they still put this stuff in their media? I'm sorry, I'm not a moral relativist. All right? No, I'm not going to buy that. And if you want to try to play that game, you know where the exit is, because I'm just going to bully you here if you bring that into me. Hayao Miyazaki's friends with Anno. Yeah, and he needs better freaking friends. Not exactly the biggest fan of Miyazaki either. He makes some good points, but that's about it. No, my hands are rated E for everyone. I don't care who it is, all right? I've taken shots at John Chris Falusi, too. I've taken shots at anybody I need to about this crap. All right? Stop normalizing the weird garbage. What's wrong with Shin Godzilla? Narrative aspects of it. I'm not saying it's inherently creepy or weird, okay? I'll be very clear there. -1 is far better. Yeah, I actually do like -1 more. I like -1 more. So, we've seen him sit there and talk about how he wants to see more things like the torture porn manga. Fantastic, fantastic. Very brilliant take. So, let's go ahead now. Close out on that. And we'll get to his debate with Ace here at some point. We're going to get into the important things. There is a YouTuber by the name of Skitty Bitty. And I want to be very clear here, because I know some people are going to try to say all otherwise. I want to make this very clear. Anthony being a leftist is not the problem. Raccoon Fangirl for $10. I just looked Persona 5 because our sexual mind Atlas never should have gone that route. Also, I stopped anime because of 40-year-old being in a child body. Also a problem. I think I know exactly what you're talking about. You're talking about that Tanya the Evil anime, right? Yeah, well, I got a fun little excerpt about that whenever you are all ready. But here's the thing. Him being leftist has nothing to do with his bad opinions, has nothing to do with his bad takes, has nothing to do with him excusing this crap. And if anybody tries to say otherwise, I'm not interested. But it makes him do the side stupidity. Well, if they're on my side politically, I have to defend them. No, you do not. If you have somebody being a creepy little weirdo on your side of the aisle politically or socially, you burn them. You burn them and you don't sit there and give them grace for it. When you have solid evidence. Now, I've had people in my spaces I've had to burn, and when I've been given solid evidence, not vibes, not opinions, not feelings, evidence, they get burned. Found evidence against Susie, burned. Found evidence against not Nezzy, burned. Everybody who I have evidence against that's been a weird little freak, burned. That's how it is. That's how it will be. There should be no exceptions. I don't care if they're the greatest leftist who has ever lived. I don't care if they advocate for literally all the right things. Burned. So here's what I suspect is going to do. Because this harmful opinions guy, somebody they tried to frame as some far right, whatever, they're probably not going to want to listen. But I need you guys to. All right? I need you guys to listen to this. Because Skitty Bitty is a leftist who's been doing some really weird things. And Harmful Opinions talks about it. And thankfully, he understands that brevity is the soul of wit. Raccoon Fangirl for $10. It was a jobless anime. They had a 40-year-old fat guy who kept stealing kids' underwear. It was so effing creepy. Ugh, gross.
Recently, I found myself looking for drama, I guess, that's juicy or interesting to me, but more on the silly side, less dark. There's plenty of dark stuff to go around, all sorts of abuses and whatnot. There's only so much I can do before it starts to wear me down and leave me with a dark cloud hanging over me, even when I'm on my computer. I'm a person, I do have a heart, I do have my limits. So looking for silly stuff, I scrabble around and I'm like, hey, these anti-grifter or the media literacy people, the people who look at cartoons, movies, I guess books, I haven't looked at the book people though, and sort of loosely intertwined and have something of a shared culture. Something I've noticed. They have this habit of projecting an extreme compensation for their limitations and weaknesses, which can be simplified to doing publicly the opposite of what they really are, or the opposite of what they're doing privately. I'll give you a light, silly example before we get into something that I actually think is unacceptable. I decided to look at a guy called the Birdman. He was interesting to me because he has like this tough guy persona. I like that. That's fun. I love internet shit talk and beefing and stuff. Now if you just look at his regular...
Fight me IRL, harmful opinions. I shall give you all the tough talk. Grimm's Hollow for $5. Hot take. I partially blame Sailor Moon for obvious reasons, and people rationalizing these kind of weird animes. I wouldn't. I'd put that on other things, far more egregious. But funny thing is, before I found out who the Birdman was, I was very confused with who they were talking about, because I only recognized one Birdman. Birdman!
Regular videos. You'd assume it's a persona for entertainment. Or maybe that's just how he is, just his personal style. There is a video I saw, though, that makes things look very different. Any bit of him that I thought was kind of cool. He's kind of a cool guy, but a real good voice. I believe he's a voice actor. That evaporated like that. Gone. I'm now of the opinion that this tough guy persona is him compensating for something in himself. I don't know, feeling weakness, inadequacy, or something like that, which makes it very cringe and gay instead of fun. What I'm talking about is an older video from 2021. He tried to get a free pizza from Domino's using his points or whatever, or some late promo. I don't remember the details exactly. Something went wrong. I believe it was a mismatch between the phone number associated with his account and the one he typed in for the order. Something went wrong. It seemed like a franchise did mess him around a little bit. Okay, annoying. Birdman decided to go to this Domino's franchise and confront the workers. And there was one line in particular I physically recoil at. 100% pure, distilled, agonizing Karen energy.
I just want to let you know, this is going up on Twitter. I'm posting all this on Twitter. You're going to get in trouble.
Oh, so that's what that persona is. It's not just internet tough guy shit. And he does it in real life, but it's not quite that he's a legit tough guy, a hard ass. He does the same act to bother fast food employees and mess with them.
Whatever. I got the whole thing. You're sitting here bullshitting me. This isn't doing this bullshit. Get right away. Stop being scared.
I would do IRL stuff. I've done plenty of IRL streaming. If you can interact with people and it's going to be weird or something, I think you need to make sure you're the butt of the joke. Right? It's almost an ethical thing. It feels wrong to actually try and aggro or intimidate or make people feel threatened, scared, worried and whatnot, unless they're doing something truly terrible. Messing you about a bit with your free pizza promo. I'm not feeling it. Nah. But my point is, it feels like he's got to be, like when you see that, it's got to be compensating for something. Whether it's something real or something by the way he feels, there's this exaggerated projection of, no, this is what I am, not whatever I feel like, perhaps. A bit armchair psychology, okay? At the end of the day, not the worst thing in the world. It just breaks the spell of his persona a bit. You get what I'm saying? Now to the title of this video, which you might be saying, why have you done that? That's horrible. That's too extreme, blah, blah, blah. It's really funny. And I think it describes what I saw. And what I saw, I don't vibe with. And not in the way I don't vibe with that Birdman Karen clip. Having had some time to think about it, I think it's actually pretty messed up. I get some pains in my chest. I've got the old, it's suspected costochondritis, which isn't serious, but it hurts and can, mess up your sleep when it's hot or it's cold or it's weird. I have trouble sleeping sometimes. So I'm up, I'm on the internet looking for stuff to pass the time with, and I see a slap fight between some Octorock reviews guy and Skitty Bitty. They're apparently Zelda-focused YouTubers. Skitty Bitty, ostensibly being part of this, not officially in some organizational sense, but I put her in the same bucket as a lot of these other people. The leftoid critics, anti-grifters, although I'm not sure she does that specifically, but she certainly is in that mass somehow. I see her talking about this guy, who is, by my read, a dork, sure. I see her showing off. All bravado. This guy's my own personal lol cow, she says. I think, you're doing the thing. You're doing the thing. You're doing the opposite of this in private. I know it. Telling everyone you want to milk this guy, he's your personal lol cow. You're just interested in because he says this stuff. He keeps saying racist stuff. You're going to clown him forever. Yeah, he's your own personal punching bag. So I take a quick peep at Skitty's Patreon Discord. And I do one search. I type report into the bar and pinging everyone to report this guy on Twitter. Huh? She also talked about having streamed about that guy and then having privated the stream. I have no idea what she said about him or what she was doing in that stream. That's pretty lame on its own. It's extremely lame when you're tough guying out on Twitter. She's not exactly troll shielding, but she's behaving the way someone who's troll shielding does. I'm above it all, I'm laughing at the dorks, while secretly in private being immensely ass-pained. Sort of like a leave me alone because I don't care, right? I love this, haha, you're not getting to me. I'm actually an epic troll. Very lame. But not what bothers me a bit. Skitty's Discord has a setup that I think is incredibly unwise. Now it's clean, there's no porn, letting not safe for work. I don't believe there'd be anything awful happening in there. But it does welcome kids, it does welcome minors. Generally I'd say do not do that, but if you do and everything's clean, okay. Point of concern one though, the minors are tagged. The minors have a minor role, at least the ones that identify themselves. That seems extremely dangerous to me. Fish in a barrel for pedophiles is how I describe it. Like you can let them in while also being like, if you're identifiably clearly a kid though, you're out. Something like that, because that's most of the...
I'd say at this point it's just easier to not have kids on a server, because again, I used to have like a fan server for the YouTube channel that was 16 plus. Again, no pornography, nothing like that was allowed to be posted. Conversations of an adult nature got ran down on very quickly and immediately. But from like a functional level, don't do it. Like even taking out the possibility of predation, just don't do it because it's a pain to moderate. Like, good God, it's frustrating. So just don't.
The protection, right? The identification of a target for these people. It needs to be very risky for them to try and pull something. If the vulnerable people come pre-packaged and pre-labeled, that's just my take on it. But what it also means, and what bothers me, is that I can also see, for my purposes, who's got that tag, who is a minor. And in response to a call to action to report this guy to go onto Twitter and get involved in this, I could see people with the minor tag discussing it. One asking, well, isn't match reporting bad? And then another one with the same tag, the minor tag. Well, it depends if it's justified or not. I'm paraphrasing. I brought up that this happened to Skitty Bitty, who tried to say that she didn't want him gone and that the call to match report him was a joke. And then actually it doesn't matter because he didn't get match reported. So, no, I'm suggesting that she wanted it to happen. And I think it's pretty clear that she did. Seems to admit that now. But anyway, while tweeting her, I bring up these kids responding to her call to action, her at everyone in her Discord, discussing it. And right over the head. No, didn't register, because her response to it was, to be fair, I think it is justified or something like that. I'll put the tweet up. No, Skitty Bitty, you're enlisting kids into like some fucking internet race war. That's insane. That's fucked up. That's deranged. You have a space that welcomes kids. Explicitly. It's in your rules. Kids are allowed here. You tag them. Give them a role that tells everyone they're a kid. You know you've got kids here. And you're asking everyone to get involved in this weird, like this fucking, essentially, Twitter race war with some extremely nasty, probably dangerous people because you're ass pained. If it helps you recognize that it's wrong, I will phrase it as your...
Yeah, that's weird. And that's why the video is named Skitty Bitty's Discord Child Army. Anime Sniper for $5. TLDR, Jobless Reincarnation is a long-term story about redemption. It's a great story for being a harem at the start. Main character is a degen and ends up heroic. I still will not be watching it. I'm good.
Child army, your personal internet child race war army. The personal internet army stuff, people trying to use their audience as a weapon or whatever, is really lame to begin with. But this crosses the line to being kind of sick, in my opinion. Like today, the next day, I feel a little bit off. I feel a little bit with this in the back of my mind. So I feel I'll make a quick video about it. Stop fucking doing that.
All right, so we have that. Let's go to the next one. This had a thumbnail with Grimugula on it. I wonder what it says. I wonder what he did. Let's find out what he did. Chad, are you excited? I'm excited.
The defense of Skitty Bitty following yesterday's video, linked down below, has been immediate and bizarre. My favorite media critic and most media literate man alive has stepped in to inform his audience that I made a video attacking Skitty Bitty over how Octorok Reviews is still complaining months after Skitty put out a vid criticizing them once. It was banter when I asked before, but is he actually schizophrenic? The answer is no. He's actually doing the Twitter log.
Bomber Rossi for $5. Who dis? I told you before we went into his videos. Rewind the stream.
The thing I normally only see them doing. I've been informed that's what's being said, or is in a video. Hello audience, this is what's happening. This is what's in this video. Oh, that's an insane mischaracterization. Well, it's not my fault because I haven't looked at it. It may not have made much difference though how he actually looked, because in the brief chit chat I had with him underneath his post about me, it became clear once again that he's incapable of understanding anything I say. Genuinely, it's surreal. Like at the end of a little back and forth, he says, "I think you're just mad. Your smear campaign against me failed to have any impact on me." I asked him what impact I'd be trying to have, and said, "You've been cooked by weird click shit. Some people still have fun on the internet." Cooked, he retorts. "You gave me material to exploit into content that I leveraged to increase my viewership. You didn't cook anything." Yes, in the sentence, "You've been cooked by weird click shit," I'm suggesting you were not cooked by me, but rather by the people around you. Let me translate it into simpler, easier to understand language. I'm not trying to actually harm or damage him, and in fact, viewing things this way is a result of the influence of the people he's surrounded with. I thought my message was pretty plain and simple. Maybe this will be easier to understand. But this force field inside of his brain that stops him from comprehending anything I say doesn't apply to other people, and he's had the issue explained to him by someone else. Sketchy Sam's summary is incomplete, but you can piece the issue together yourself if you rub two brain cells together. Anthony defends the call to action by saying, "Skitty already stated."
So, hey Ant, so I watched the video Harmful Opinions made, and it appears Skitty Bitty has told people on Discord to report Octorok Reviews on Twitter. The screenshot is at 5:29 if you want to see for yourself. As for the minors thing, all Harmful Opinions states is that she was being irresponsible for having minors in the Discord in the first place, and she was asking them to report Octorok Reviews. Feel free to see the video yourself if you want to fact check anything in this post. Anthony responds, "So in other words, Skitty did nothing inappropriate with kids, meaning it's extremely dangerous to imply kids were a factor at all, especially towards a trans content creator." I'm sorry, what does them being trans have to do with literally dick and or all? And yeah, putting kids in the line of fire in some goofy little war, yeah, that is inappropriate, you deranged animal. Skitty has already stated that them telling their audience to report Octorok's Twitter was a step too far, but at the same time, Octorok was harassing them for 3 months straight, including spreading sensitive information regarding Skitty. I suspect Harmful Opinions omitted that detail. He never watches anything. I want to be very clear, he never watches anything. He goes by what random people tell him as though it's fact, and then claims it's fact, and then gets surprised Pikachu face when he gets called on it. We'll see that again later, trust me.
Stated it was a step too far. Well, after lying about it multiple times. And of course, that not even actually being the issue I was raising. And he says Skitty did nothing inappropriate with kids, meaning it's extremely dangerous to imply that kids were a factor at all, especially towards a trans content creator. I didn't imply that kids were a factor. I directly, clearly stated that they were. In fact, the title of my video is Skitty Bitty.
Raccoon Fangirl for $10. Jobless Reincarnation is trans anime that has a guy who has a bunch of harems. The worst part, one T saw Tanya that is evil is a fun anime, an anime that good slime. You know, I don't, and I don't care. I'm sorry, I don't care about either of those things.
He's Discord child army, but I suppose this is the state of media literacy on the internet. And while Anthony believes it's inappropriate to mention the children were involved, Skitty Bitty disagrees. As I pointed out in my previous video, Skitty's Discord has a minor tag. People can identify themselves as minors and have that tag applied to them. I shared my opinion that that's a bad idea, particularly in a more cloistered Discord focused on a Nintendo IP. Making kids identifiable and helping predators pose as children seems to me to be a very, very bad idea. Skitty explains the reasoning behind it though. The minor tag on my Discord is opt-in, and it helps to avoid situations in which people claim they didn't know they were talking to someone underage. I'll get to why this is important for me in a moment, but on its face it seems kind of silly. The strategy of sextortion predators is primarily to pose as kids to get another kid to do something that they feel could get them in trouble, and then control them with that. In my eyes, this does the opposite of helping with one of the worst issues on the internet. And furthermore, this idea that it stops them from, saying they didn't know they were a kid. You want to know my strategy? Someone's being a weird creep. They say, "Well, I didn't know they were a kid though." Very simple.
Not trying to be offensive, Raccoon Fangirl. It's just I don't really need the fan arguments back and forth via super chats.
Too bad, don't care, get fucked. Onto why Skitty's statement matters for me though. Skitty says the point of the tag is to avoid situations in which people claim they didn't know they were talking to someone underage. I'm saying, when Skitty tags everyone in the server and tells them to do something, to look at something, to whatever, Skitty knows this is talking to kids. Skitty has a system designed to ensure that no one could deny that they know they're talking to kids. Skitty's
True.
Defender Anthony says it's dangerous to imply that kids are a factor when there is a system designed to enforce that recognition. Skitty claims that keeping members of the community safe is top priority. That this individual was knowingly and deliberately involving children in their actions is undeniable, and I'm not going to ignore that or not mention that because Skitty's trans. But of course, Anthony's position is that nothing Skitty did was inappropriate to do with kids. Now this is a matter of values, and mine are very different to Anthony's. So let's be crystal clear about what's being endorsed by him here. A Zelda YouTuber who uses a cute little Pokemon avatar publicly states how safe to make the spaces for kids, welcomes them into their more private Patreon Discord, and encourages them to identify themselves by applying a minor tag for their safety so no one could deny that they know they're interacting with kids. And Skitty interacts with them, pinging the server that Skitty says is run with child safety as the #1 priority to tell them to report a Twitter account. Not only to report it, but to go and look through all the posts. What does Skitty say the posts are? Nazi pedophile simping. I don't think you should be drawing in kids, saying it's safe for them, they can be here, it's cool, we'll keep them safe, and then pointing them at Nazi pedophile stuff, in Skitty's words. I personally think that's highly inappropriate behavior with kids. And let me...
Yeah, it's more than just highly inappropriate. I think you need to be thrown into wood chipper if you get children involved in anything regarding going after pedophiles, frankly. And if they're trying to frame this person as one who's not one, that's a problem in and of itself. And if they're trying to get the children to assist them in it, like, dude, you have no idea how many, like, predator hunting groups that were formed primarily of children that I had to destroy years ago because kids should not be involved in this crap.
Let me reiterate, let me hammer this in. It's not just that there happen to be kids. If you're going to engage with this stuff, cover this stuff, talk about this stuff on the internet, it's impossible to totally get rid of them. But this is a Nintendo YouTuber's Discord that specifically caters to children. It's set up with them in mind. It's at the front of Skitty's thoughts. #1 priority, right? Not even slightly questionable to Anthony. Using kids like this is fine. In fact, the evil thing is mentioning that kids are being used like this. Fuck me. Maybe it just is totally normal to these people. Business as usual. Like it doesn't register as something out of the ordinary. Like imagine in real life you get an adult running a hobby group or something. It's like, we welcome kids, your kids will be safe here. It's a mixed space, but we will look after them. And then you find out that the person in charge has been like showing the kids what they call Nazi pedophile simping accounts on their phone. You would break their fucking fingers at the very least. That person would be a pariah in their local community. You would be the sicko who tries to show kids weird stuff. You're not more chill with it online because it's so different. You're more chill because you feel safer. In online chat rooms, it's way less likely the parents will find out what's been going on. For instance, you're not running the risk of older, more sensible members telling their parents because they don't know who they are. Or maybe you would behave like this in person, in real life, in like a real group. In which case, Jesus fucking Christ. As is to Anthony, even though you won't see this, he has an anxiety disorder or something, I guess. He has panic attacks when he hears my voice. Brigading and stuff is lame, but I would have made a video. The call to action alone is what it is. I tweeted about it. What I'm laying out here is what made me feel off, feel a bit funny. Stuck with me in my gut. Almost wanted to do a sanity check like, you see this too, right? This is crazy, yeah? A little side note. I know that some Skitty viewers understand my issue with the identifiability of minors. Because I saw in the Discord, there's a person in there who says they're a kid, and they've repeatedly identified themselves with their age. And you can see in one instance that other users are saying, hey, maybe don't do that. Don't put out information about yourself. Don't make yourself so identifiable. Don't make it so clear you're a kid. That person's right, in my opinion. To me, it's common sense. First layer of defense. No info about yourself. Anyway, this is all I can do. If people really think this is normal, I'm not going to change their mind and it's going to continue to happen. The children's media content, internet race for child armies will continue to be a thing. Talking about it at all, addressing it at all is just victimizing the tranoids, I guess. And we will forever live in hell. Have a nice day. Take it easy.
Yeah, I don't care for the derogatory statement made about trans people. Never going to. Doesn't mean what everything else he said is wrong, but that was gay. Next thing. We got a couple more of these. Thankfully, they're short.
Since my first video talking about Skitty Bitty.
This one's called Skitty Bitty versus Parental Consent, and this one's rough.
I have received 2 main complaints, over and over and over, so I figured it would be appropriate to address them. The first complaint is that I supposedly left important information out of my coverage when I talked about it. And you know what? Fair enough, you're right, I did. The second complaint is more of an accusation that I'm trying to make Skitty Bitty look like a nonce, that I'm pedo-jacketing. You seem to have misunderstood. I showed Skitty Bitty doing that to other people, while I went out of the way to say nothing of that kind of stuff was happening in that Discord. Not everything that is inappropriate with kids is sexual. It is nonetheless still inappropriate, and on top of all of that, the details I cut out when talking about it were cut out for the purpose of harm reduction. What I omitted was something that makes Skitty look a little pedo-y. The general sentiment with the pedo-jacketing accusation is that I was framing it so that Skitty looks as sus as possible so that culture warriors and conservatives will pick that up and run with it because Skitty's trans. I think today's video will serve as proof that I absolutely wasn't doing that, because if I was, I would have included this. Since so many people have been asking me to include all the information, since Skitty has said my videos were dishonest because I didn't include all the context, okay, you twisted my arm, I'll share it. It's like the perfect material for a conservative hate campaign, but if you really want me to, fine. Skitty Bitty is on the record, has stated publicly that they are against parents knowing what their children are up to online, championing youth autonomy on the internet, and more specifically, instructing a minor on how to avoid their parents' notice, or specifically going against their wishes. Over the
Fantastic behavior. Let's see what he has to provide evidence for that.
past year or so, a couple regular faces have appeared repeatedly in the audience of Skitty's livestream. 2 people who represent themselves as and are believed by Skitty to be minors. There's Brendan.
Can we ban Brendan? No, he's only like 14 years old. He'll learn.
And a younger boy called Benjamin.
Listen, he said he's younger than Brendan, and Brendan is 14, so...
Skitty apparently enjoyed teasing Benjamin by saying that he's 11, when in reality he's slightly older than that.
Oh, this is Benjamin, he's 11.
You should...
Why are they even in your spaces at that age? Children shouldn't even be allowed on any social media at that age. The heck is this?
Do your chores. Okay.
Benjamin's our youngest viewer.
11?
He's actually 13, but if you say he's 11, he gets really mad, so...
Skitty is also...
Dude, if you guys remember the last stream I did with Chaos, there was somebody in the side chat who would claim to be a child, and I didn't want to banning them flatly. I'm like, no, you're not going to be here. Bye-bye.
Publicly passed a judgment on this young boy's parents as they are ideological enemies.
I'm your dad. Go do your chores.
No, Benjamin's parents are like homophobic crazy people.
Okay, I'm your internet uncle.
In a stream last year, Skitty plugged their Discord, and young Benjamin lamented that he wouldn't be able to join. He doesn't have a card or I suppose a PayPal or anything that he could use to pay for access to get into the private Discord. His parents also presumably wouldn't want him joining the private Discord of a queerness-focused YouTuber. No problem though. Skitty was there to help.
Anyway, Benjamin, if you want to join the Patreon, but you don't have a credit card, what you should do is you should buy yourself a Visa gift card at a store. I'm joking mostly, but I'm actually not really joking. If you are a child and you have crazy homophobic parents, you need to buy anything really. You should buy a Visa gift card because you could just spend that on anything.
That is actually insane. It's just insane. Agamonti1 for 500. Hot take. You can have stories that delve into controversial topics and still be good, like Slaughterhouse-Five, The Great Gatsby, and Naked Lunch. I'll take your word for it. I haven't read any of those.
You can do that.
Benjamin expressed surprise and delight at this information, and Skitty Bitty elaborated.
Yeah, it has a number on it that you can use to purchase stuff. That is truth. That's the official...
Okay, so this is insane for a couple reasons. Number one, you're assuming the kid's even telling you the truth. Like, I cannot tell you how many adults, and this isn't even kids, right? These are adults I'm talking about, who came into Old Senate, or even Old Barrel, and talked about how horrifically abusive their parents were, and when we asked them what they mean, they talk about how they were asked to do chores, or their schoolwork, or find a job. Like, trusting them inherently, without any evidence, is dangerous, but you shouldn't even be involving yourself with this to begin with. If a child comes to you saying, my parents are abusive, you know what you should do? Hey, go to the cops. That's what you should do.
Skitty Bitty strat. I never had to do shit like that because my parents are cool, but I support everyone who doesn't have cool parents in their quest for autonomy.
The autonomy to give YouTubers money and gain access to private chat rooms their parents wouldn't want them in. I suppose more generally, this is support of kids being able to join whatever weird shit they want. The instruction.
That is actually degenerately insane and horrifically dangerous. Like, it actually pisses me off. I'm running out of words to describe it. That is obscene. That screams crimson red flag, blood all over the floor. Like, I cannot tell you how much of a warning sign that is.
And certainly worked for that, and 13-year-old Benjamin seemingly wasn't aware of this method before. Let me emphasize, this wasn't a hypothetical or a general discussion of this sort of thing. This was direct instruction from Skitty Bitty to a 13-year-old on how to bypass parental approval, consent, and knowledge when signing up and paying for an online service, to Skitty's financial benefit, but also specifically to make sure this kid would be around people his parents have believed not to want him around, on account of their alleged homophobia. It's unclear if Benjamin managed to join specifically using this method, but join he did.
Oh, Brendan's here. Hi, Brendan.
Hi, Brendan.
Hi, Brendan. He missed something. He missed the lore.
Yeah. It's okay. He's on the server, so he already
No,
knows.
Brendan's on the server. You're thinking of Benjamin.
Oh.
It doesn't particularly matter to me, though, how he got in. I believe it's still the case that YouTubers should not be instructing 13-year-olds on how to bypass parental oversight to get into chat rooms online, and how to bypass their parents' will to give the YouTuber money. That shouldn't happen, ever. It certainly shouldn't be happening multiple times.
We're going to get physical money. Buy a Visa gift card.
There's been a great deal of misunderstanding about exactly what I'm saying. Hopefully this video is simple enough for the media literate types. I mean, when I tried to explain more plainly my issue in my original video to Skitty Bitty, because they were either deliberately pretending to misunderstand or genuinely misunderstanding, the response was simply,
I'm gay.
hopefully I've demonstrated that I was not trying to make Skitty Bitty look like a pedophile. If I wanted to, I could have framed this differently, and it would have been very, very easy to do. But I didn't. And I don't think I have in this video either. It's just hard not to look like a bit of a creep when you behave like this. Like, I couldn't in a million years imagine instructing a child in my chat like this. First off, you say you're a kid, you get banned. That's my standard, but I'm not a self-user. I'm a very different kind of streamer, and I guess not so desperate for every little scrap of cash, or so intent on undermining parental authority. Oh yeah, the other thing people wanted me to include in all this was, Skitty Bitty's been fighting the Rock reviews, and he liked the couple tweets with slurs on them. Oh, there you go. You happy now? Take it easy.
We got one more. One more. And this one actually bothers me a lot more than even this one did. This one's called No More Skitty Bitty Videos. And I want to be very clear, this is a person Anthony has defended multiple times and tried to play pretend he didn't know what the problem was, guys.
This morning it was brought to my attention that my favorite media critic and most media literate man in the world has once again stepped in to bat for and sweep things up for their friend, Skitty Bitty. I'm pretty sick of this stuff, but I feel, sorry, in my heart, that it would be a good idea to go one last time. Try and hammer this into some heads, because the cleanup campaign is so outrageous. In a publicly published post on Blue Sky, Anthony Grimmovia has told the world, so Skitty said on a live stream once that someone in chat who said they didn't have a credit card, that they could buy a Visa credit card to get into their Discord as a joke, but then pivoted to discussing how buying a Visa card can help someone out if their parents were homophobic and controlling. And that's literally everything. A joke turned into practical advice for living with an abusive parent. Textbook pedo jacketing.
That is not what happened, you lying piece of garbage. They said literally they weren't joking and to actually do this. It was the same conversation. And she said abusive. She said that her parents are homophobic. That doesn't mean they're beating the child every night. Newsflash, there's not a single person. Not a single person. Hold on. There's not a single person in this chat. There's an adult who has not been taught things from their parents that they have rejected as an adult, that they also thought was bad when they were kids. It is true for everybody. You're insane, Grimugula.
Almost everything in this statement is so beautifully, perfectly, carefully wrong. The very first thing said that it happened once. No, I spelled this out myself already. But let's go through it again, very, very, very slowly, and with a bit more detail, because these people thrive on wiggle room. I'll censor the kids' names this time as a courtesy, when previously I was just censoring the usernames. This is pretend opsec, because if I even quote Skitty Bitty, you are equally far away from having all the information as you are if I have their name on my video. From an OSINT perspective, the place you have to go to identify them and their accounts is controlled by Skitty Bitty. I can't do anything about that. So let's look at the two examples already mentioned, and I'm going to dumb it down as far as I can. Really spell things out. These people seem to have an issue where they can't hold a lot of information in their head at the same time. So instead of just talking about it generally, I'll present it as a story. A little bit more of a chronological approach to why it looks so weird to me. Here's the tale of Kid 1. This kid was a regular chatter, and Skitty took a little bit of personal interest in them, would engage and ask a little bit about their life.
Oh, is that siblings? Are you the youngest? Are you a little bit of youngest sibling energy, I'm not gonna lie.
Nothing horrible. If I'm going to be a total tight ass, I think information extraction should be at an absolute minimum. I'm just showing there's a growing familiarity and a really strong awareness that this person is quite young.
My childhood. You are a child.
Over the months, this kid's age would come up many times in the stream, and the way they refer to it would shift from being a child to being Skitty's child.
Is up there. It is my child. Be nice to that's my son.
Maybe to you that's just...
Look, man, you can sit there and get mad at the found family I had, but they were literally comprised from the beginning of adults. Never an actual child. That's deranged.
It's a cute thing to do on stream. An adult streamer referring to a specific kid viewer as their child. For my taste, that's a bit iffy in terms of encouraging parasocial feelings and whatnot. I start to get a little bit further put off when I hear slips like this. Talking to someone else, they reference Kid 1.
You play a lot of Nintendo Land and pick with a kid and teenager. You're telling me you're not a teenager. I was sure you were one of my friends about the age. I say friend, one of my fans about Sage.
Just a slip of the tongue, friend, fan. Let's start with F. How about when Skitty told the stream that they see this kid in their dreams?
Dream Bonanza was already out. Famous chatter was there. I don't remember why. Have I reached peak YouTuber status when my chatters begin to appear in my dreams?
I think this is pretty much the final boss of encouraging parasocial feelings in kid viewers. I would ask you to imagine me identifying repeatedly in my streams a young teen viewer, starting to call them my child, and then talking about how I see them in my dreams. From my perspective, that's pretty nuts. And this kid was one of the individuals advised on the Visa gift card strategy. After Skitty promos their Patreon and private Discord, this kid asks, what if I only have physical money?
If you only have physical money, buy a Visa gift card, and then use that money to get a Patreon.
Unlike the other example we'll look at, this one is not specifically about bypassing parents, and it's actually the other elements before that that I think get really weird. However, I should mention that while the other example we're going to look at today was directed at another kid in the chat, Kid 1 was present while that advice was given. What I've just shown you is the second time they've heard that advice from Skitty Bitty, and the first time they heard it was in the context of making sure your parents don't know. The second time you can try and play off as, oh, it was just an off-the-cuff hee-hee-ha-ha joke with nothing further around it. The first time that kid that Skitty is very, very weirdly parasocial with in their streams, I don't think you can do that with. So here's our second story, Kid 2. As I've pointed out before, Kid 2 is even younger than Kid 1. Skitty is well aware of this and inquired about it 4 days prior to the incident we're going to talk about next.
I mean, he says he's not living. He must not.
Listen, he said he's younger than. He was 14.
And much last year, this kid tells Skitty Bitty that their parents would kill them if they knew who they were watching. Personally, my reaction would be, good to know. Banned. Skitty, however, decides to challenge this.
Your parents would kill you if they knew you were watching. Why would they do that?
The kid responds by saying, my parents are homophobic extremists, mostly my mom. Off the back of that, Skitty says, I'm sorry about your parents. Hope you can hold in there until you get out of there or they improve. It's good you're being exposed to people your parents tell you to hate, especially me because I'm cool.
I'm glad to hear that you are immersing yourself in a media environment where you can be exposed to the kinds of people that you're told that you need to hate, because I would say that gay and trans people are actually pretty cool. At least in my experience. At least when it comes to me, I'd say I'm pretty cool. I'm sorry.
Trying to encourage your child audience like that is so very dangerous, so unspeakably dangerous.
But I hope that you can hang in there until you are able to get out of there, and/or I hope that they get their skit together.
You need to not forget that the dynamic here is an online entertainer talking to a child in their audience directly, giving a vulnerable person validation in front of an audience. Perhaps now feeling encouraged, the kid overshares wildly in the public chat, saying, they love me but I don't feel loved, which is sad. It's complicated, maybe I'm just spoiled, I don't know. Very sad if true. Maybe a moment to say like, hey, you're not in trouble, but you need to cool it in this public chat. Here's some stuff that might help you if you're having real trouble. Instead, we do get some intervention, but not that. 10 minutes later, after a plug of the Patreon and private Discord, Kid 2 says, I would join the Patreon, but I don't have a credit card, so. And Skitty, having just 10 minutes earlier expressed their happiness that Kid 2 has found them as an influence away from their parents, specifically them, says this.
Anyway, if you want to join the Patreon, but you don't have a credit card, what you should do is you should buy yourself a Visa gift card at a store. I'm joking mostly.
Hesitation.
But I'm actually not really joking.
And then the full send, the full commit. It is broadened and then explained it can be used for other things, but it is still talking about that.
If you are a child and you have crazy homophobic parents, you need to buy anything really. You should buy a Visa gift card, because you could just spend that on anything. You can do that.
Skitty Bitty moves on to talk about their use of weed. Kid 2 is still talking about the payment thing though, and it's made crystal clear, contrary to some claims, that this was not merely about how to pay if you don't have a card. It is specifically about dodging parents' awareness. Kid 1 is the person in red here, by the way. The one Skitty claims to have dreamt about, and who they would also advise on the same method of joining the Patreon and entering the private Discord 3 months after this. I think there's a little bit more to this than a joke turned into practical advice for living with an abusive parent. No, Anthony, they were talking directly to a child who had just told them minutes earlier that their parents didn't even want them watching, because they...
Then what would happen if the kid got caught? Like, if the parents were truly, actually abusive and the kid got caught buying a Visa gift card to get into a Patreon, how do you think this is going to turn out for the kid? This isn't about keeping the kid safe or keeping them away from negative opinions about things. This is about Skitty being a freak.
They are that supposedly hypothetical person. No matter how much anyone wants to try to spin it, a streamer becomes aware of someone in the chat saying their parents don't want them to watch. That is pounced on, and within minutes they're giving advice on how to get into a private space they control. I'm sorry, that is reality. A streamer.
You know, if I had somebody say, let's say it's an atheist, like a militant atheist family. Let's say Cy Scribbles, for the love of God, winds up getting a family and a kid, and the kid comes to my chat, hey, my parents don't want me watching you, but I'm here anyway. My response would be, obey your parents, get out of my chat. You can make those decisions when you're an adult, keep it in mind, but no, I'm not going to sit there and abide by that. It might be wrong for the parents to not want their kid to do something like that, but that cannot be my problem. If they're being truly abused, they need to go to the police. Normalize going to the police.
Immediately.
Now, to be clear, I don't trust the cops. I think they're horrifically incompetent, but we have channels for a reason like that. You can't just bypass it like that.
Shit talking a young viewer's parents, reinforcing this idea, suggesting it's going to be good when they can get away from them, or when they change, to be fair, on the back of 2 messages, specifying it's not even necessarily both of their parents. Then, not providing resources, not even just providing access to that private Discord for free, for instance, which would still be weird, but giving advice on how to do an act that their parents wouldn't like, that the streamer would then know about. A shared secret creating a special kind of connection. We are in beyond red flag territory. The edgier than thou fella, accusing me of fear-mongering about private spaces, suggesting the implication was, ooh, what could be going on in there? I don't think I made it clear enough. Yes, something bad can happen anywhere. The question is, if a kid has a YouTuber enticing them to further and further rebel against their parents directly, something bad does happen, who can they tell? The strategy of creating a wedge, creating a barrier like this, or attempting to, that would mean they'd hesitate to tell their parents about what they've been doing, is classic predatory behavior. I'm sorry if you don't like to hear that. Oh, and there's a particular term I think I should share that stuck in my mind from when I talked to a person I used to know from my caring days. I wasn't a carer for kids, my clients were people with spinal injuries, but I knew she was all on this stuff, not on the web. But the term she used was boundary testing, and apparently that combined with any sort of push to get that person into a more private venue is like, fuck no, red alert. I got radicalized. Anyway, that's probably gonna be all, nothing else to say, but I see such fucking crazy sweeping. Gotta say something at least one more time. Take it easy.
Now, we're gonna get into this a little bit later, but I want to bring some things up. All right, so question for all of you. Let me go ahead and make a poll. I will engage with my audience. Do-do-do. Do-do. Should people with platforms protect their own credibility? A yes or a no? Just want a yes or no. And then we'll get into some fun aspects here. From the Anthony Gramigula Ace Space debate. So, we have the majority voting yes and a minority voting no. Now, here's the thing. It does depend. If you're trying to talk factually, you're trying to spread word on things, you're trying to get out your opinion, you should defend and protect your own credibility. If you're a crap poster who just makes things goofy, to be goofy, so long as you don't pass certain lines, yes, you shouldn't care about quote-unquote credibility. If you're a guy who does YouTube poops, I don't think you're going to care about your credibility, because it's not a concern, right? Let's see how Anthony feels about this stuff. All right? Let's see if I can find the exact right clip here.
I think she had a clip, yeah.
A clip that makes sense, yeah. So that's probably what I reacted to, and just went and just took it at face value. I was saying that your video did. It's inspiring other people who don't know all the facts, who take it maybe.
Let me rewind here. Now, Gramugula was upset about Ace doing a stream with Blackish, where Ace confronted Blackish on a rumor about Anthony that had no basis. And Anthony was mad that Ace even brought it up, because it's spreading the rumor, somehow. So, Ace brought up a claim that Gramugula made about me concerning Slug's channel. Something that Slug has also tried to turn into racism, because these idiots don't know what races are. We'll get into that shortly. Let's see here.
Okay, let's take a look at that. Yeah, so about a year ago. Okay. So wait, now Lio's such a liability.
So wait, now Lio's such a liability that he's getting other channels destroyed because he said awful stuff on stream. It just seems he's a liability at this point. The context for this is Slug, that Slug, and I were bullying a weirdo by the name of... God, what was his name? Something with a gun. Rifleman J, who did videos talking about how we should just forgive pedophiles. And I want to be clear, it wasn't accountability. We were just bullying him. And he's like, well, my videos are popular with my audience. Like, where's your audience based? Southeast Asia and the Middle East. And I said, gee, I wonder why that might be preferred there, why they might find that a belief they'll go by or a value they may have, something along those lines. I don't have the clip anymore. Maybe it's because a lot of people in Southeast Asia are fine with lolicon material, and there's no shortage of people in the Middle East who use their religion to justify child sex trafficking. These are not things I said that were attacking an ethnicity, a religious group as a whole. They are factual statements about the state of the world right now. Psy grabbed that, threw it online, claimed I was being racist, which is interesting. I wasn't aware pedophiles were a race, and I wasn't aware the specific sects of Islam that do, in fact, push that is a race, but interesting. And for some reason, Slug's channel went down. Had nothing to do with me or that stream. It had to do with a completely separate video. And Gramugula ran with it, claiming it as though it was fact. Let's see how he responds.
That he is getting other channels destroyed because he said awful stuff on stream, ? It just seems like he's a liability at this point. Okay, so I'm naive. So again, in response to this, I'm quote tweeting someone else. Given the fact the account is banned and given the fact it's about Lio, that does narrow down who probably posted this originally.
I think it was probably Psy.
Yeah, I'm going with Psy. I'm thinking Psy, yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. That tracks. Yeah, that tracks. Okay, so yeah, that's me believing Psy, which honestly, you can call me out for that mistake more than anything else in terms of this.
Right.
Yeah, no. So look.
Haha, isn't it funny? I believe Psy, guys. That's what you should criticize before. You do this with everybody.
At this, it doesn't look like I'm even accusing him of anything specific necessarily. It's more.
Now Lyo's such a liability that he's getting other channels destroyed because he said, oh, I'm not accusing Lyo of anything specifically. You lying piece of garbage.
I'm reacting to something someone else said. Which you can make the argument involves me doing the very thing that I was saying that your video did. It's inspiring other people who don't know all the facts, who take it maybe we're half listening, maybe, or half paying attention, to take something very seriously and jump with a point they only half understand. And in this situation, it looks like, I'm guessing maybe she had like a screenshot or a video clip or something.
I think she had a clip, yeah.
A clip, that makes sense, yeah. So that's probably what I reacted to, and just took it at face value that was what caused it.
So here's the thing. The problem with doing this, because he also goes on later on to talk about, well, what was the problem with me, Ace, saying that your video gave me the impression of XYZ thing, or what's wrong with this? Because my Twitter doesn't get much attention. What's the problem with that? Now, I'm going to be real clear. Ace did not do this stream very well. He kind of got walked on it because I guess he's not used to dealing with gish gallopers like this little weirdo, right? So let me see if I can find the exact screenshots, because I have them here somewhere. Is this one? No. Is it in the random claims folder? Sorry, I have this all set out by stuff like that, so you have to give me a minute to find the right image. It's going to take me a minute. Sorry, I thought I had this more accessible, because I actually do have an entire folder of all this stuff. Maybe it's in the random claims folder, because I want to go through this as functionally as I possibly can, you know? There's him crying about Evangelion. And when we go through all these screencasts, we'll do it on the big screen, so don't worry. Okay, so I'll put this on screen when I found it. So, in the initial thing that he brings up, where he claims that I'm the liability, it got 97 likes, 15 retweets. Well, what's the problem of him just making these claims without evidence? Because the correction got 72 likes and 4 retweets. Meaning, chat, amazingly, it's almost like there's an old saying about how a lie gets around the world before the truth can even get his pants on. Interesting. Interesting. Right? But that's not the only thing he says here. That's just genuinely embarrassing and stupid. So we're going to go to the other timestamp I have about this. 121:35.
A movie with violence in it, a clip of it anyway, in a YouTube video. Those are discussions worth having.
I guess like to like not steer too far away, to be fair. I guess a thing I would ask for a clarifying thing. Do you treat the internet like it's your journal or something, or would you care about your credibility when making claims?
I'm sorry, what are you asking exactly?
Do you treat the internet like it would be your journal, or do you care about the credibility that you have?
Mr. Media Literacy needed him to repeat himself because apparently he wasn't clear enough in the direct question he was asking.
I just say shit, man.
Well, I mean...
Okay. That's about it, man. There's nothing deeper than that. I just say shit. That's it. But sometimes people listen, sometimes they don't. I just say shit.
Can I interject on a little bit on that?
Okay, so he just says things, chat. He just says things. So, via his own standards, Anthony's standards, not mine, via his standards, I can say that I get the vibe, the feeling, the impression that he's a kid toucher. He's a dog molester because I look at his thumbnails and that's the impression I get. I don't have to watch it, right? That's his value. And if you don't believe me, go look at the stream. It's on Yin's channel. And he doesn't have to care about his credibility. He just says stuff. So if anybody does it to him, if anybody hangs him out for something he didn't do, you just say stuff and you throw it back at him. He can't say a word to you about it. He is an inconsistent piece of human refuse who tries his best to morally grandstand other people while being so woefully incompetent at his own values, he can't even pay attention. So, I want you to remember that, because now we're going to get into a timeline here. All right? It is timeline time to get into the real meat of what we're talking about here. So, I want to one in the chat. If you got tuned in, for lack of a better word, to Gramugula's content because of his Lily Orchard coverage, a 1 in the chat, please. A 1 in the chat, if that's what you know him for. Just a 1 in the chat if that's what you know him for. And I'll set up while we wait on that. We got some ones. Well, he constantly likes to talk about how Lily bad, which is fair. Lily is bad. But he doesn't talk about why Lily's bad in the sense of Lily did something wrong from a moral perspective. It's always, Lily, let's talk about her media critiques. That's going to take her down, guys. That's going to take her down. Well, let me explain to you something about him. So you know how I told you guys that he doesn't care if people would joke and pretend to be a pedophile? Well, I'm going to show you why. So, in April 1st of 2025, Cy Scribbles changed her entire channel to look like a parody of Lily Orchard, cosplaying, one could say, as a pedophile. Very smart. Very smart. So, 1 in the chat if you think this is deranged, just in general, to cosplay as a pedophile. All right, 1 in the chat. 1 in the chat. If you think it's deranged to cosplay as a pedophile. Oh, wait. And the ones come rolling in. So, the thing about this is, Cy does this, and whatever you think about Courtney now, that's fine. But Courtney found out about this. Keep in mind, Lily sexually abused Courtney as a child. Courtney sees this and gets offended by it, which is fair. All right? That's just fair. And instead of Cy or Anthony going, "Oh man, I didn't actually think about that. You're right. This is uncalled for. I am genuinely sorry," and moving on with their lives like normal adults, they instead start getting mad, and then of course KP's involved and comes to me about it because her and Anthony at that point are beefing because of all this stuff. There's some details missing, but maybe we should get into the weeds about that some other time. I want to try to streamline this as best as possible because we've been at it for 2 hours now. So at this point, I'd actually been in contact with Anthony for a bit because when Cy did one of her first streams on me, even though Anthony will play pretend he didn't know about anything concerning me until all this happened, he said that he would like to have a stream with me. Again, he approached me about religion and reference to religion in media, which for the record would not have ended the way he likes. Because I know enough about the man to know that he's going to try to dog on a Christian, and it's just not going to work out for his benefit. Right? But I accepted it anyways. Well, we got to some decent conversations. We got into actually some decent conversations until all this happened. Now, here's where I'm going to go back to the main screen, because we're going to go over some video stuff here in a minute. So, some things happen, right? Some things happen. And then he blocks me, and he pulls up a stream claiming that he is going to bring something to light. He's gonna expose an evil. It's the freaking Rosa call, right? He thinks he's going to be the first person to talk about the Rosa call. Of all things, that's what he thinks he's going to be the first person to talk about. So let's go to the 2-hour mark on this stream and listen to the nonsense he spouts. And we'll come back to it, I promise. I promise we'll come back to it. Because this now is after that April 1st thing and then after KP's awful video, right, on Saberspark. Yeah. Well, this may not be after the Spark. I think this is just after the April 1st video. Let me make sure. Yes, this is after the April 1st debacle, right? So not even the bad thing actually happened yet. Crow T Robot for $10. I'm actually more from the figurine and 80s meteor use out of your channel. I am normally a silent viewer, but I thought I would throw some extra cash. Much appreciated. Glad you enjoy the stuff I actually enjoy making. So, let's see what Tough Guy here has to say. Let's see what he has to say and do. And then we'll get into some of the things that happen behind the scenes.
A mod on KP's Discord server. Let's start with that one, shall we? They are very close and have been for many years, apparently. Well, it's more that I didn't want to see it on streams, Krim. That's the problem. I didn't want to stream it. So, let's back up a second here.
For the record, that Krim person he mentioned was somebody who found out that Lily Orchard in the dead of winter, when Canada's covered in snow, went out without any gear on to protect themselves and freaked out trying to get the child predator help to make sure they didn't die. And somehow Grimugula thinks that's the heroic thing to do. Love the priorities.
Yeah, no, I didn't want to post in the freaking stream. That's the problem here. Okay, so after everything else, the Senate is in charge of KP server, essentially.
It is? That's news to me. I barely peeked in on KP's server, and there were no other Senate mods that were her moderators. That's interesting. Baiji for $5. How many people named Anthony are there? Also, OFC, this bozo's going to cry about the evil Rosa call. Well, the call was bad.
And Leo Convoy reached out to me.
Who's Leo Convoy?
To mediate the difference between myself and KP.
Yeah, and I'm going to actually show everybody our entire DM list here. Something he won't do, by the way, and we'll find out why.
And that's where I get pissed.
Oh, he's
now,
so scary,
Leo Convoy
guys.
had reached out to me initially because I had, during my phase of...
Mr. Media Reviewer here doesn't even know how to pronounce my name correctly.
Of one of the debate people who I felt were disagreeable, I thought we can see some common ground. I casually mentioned on Blue Sky, it would be kind of funny if I had a debate about religion with Leo Convoy.
No, actually, you didn't mention it on Blue Sky. You mentioned it on Sai's stream. So, line number 2.
This was shortly after Sai had released a video about Leo Convoy, discussing his takes. And I just thought of him as, oh, he's just some guy who makes weird opinions online. I didn't know what the fuck the Senate was.
Except for the fact that she mentioned it multiple times in that stream, including the Rosa call and everything else.
I didn't know about any of that, and unfortunately, in the last week, I've learned way more than I ever want to humanly learn about this person.
Because he thought everybody was going to go at it with him, and he scrambled to try to find dirt, and we're going to go into some screen caps from that.
We'll get to that. So, Leo Convoy DMs me and says, hey, I want to talk to you about this KP situation. How do you know she's a bully? And I said, well, because I've seen her bully people. First mistake I made responding. And he's like, well, I'm going to independently investigate this. I'll figure it out. And mind you, I have people who are in KP server who then told me that KP was then talking about how Leo Convoy was talking to me and handling the problem. So I knew immediately, oh, Leo Convoy's just feeding KP whatever he says to me. That's what she's doing to me.
Actually, I didn't, believe it or not. I actually didn't. I went to mediate that independently because I wanted to find some common ground and stop it from escalating. But we'll see that in the DMs that I'm going to share that he didn't. He only shares one thing from our DMs. It's very interesting.
Okay. Immediately, like that, I knew the game was. The attempt was he was going to get me to soften up and talk to him and expose vulnerabilities. Well, he would leak stuff to KP, and KP would use it for leverage later on.
I was? What level of paranoia is this, chat? No. I wasn't going to do anything like that. Deranged animal. Jackal Terrarium for $5. I mean, he offered to pay a creep to make an interview content, but so getting him mad about being caught up by Courtney is right. Don't worry, we're going to show that. Because he keeps trying to pretend it's not what happened.
That was the game, obviously. So, let me do a few super checks real quick. Angel Gaming, okay, feel bad, so sorry. Britt, KP wanted to mediate between me and Leo regarding Lily. Good to know this is a common angle they pull. Oh.
No, actually, I never said anything among that line. Brittany's a liar, and she's also not a victim of Lily's, which you can go watch the stream I did about Brittany, just so you're aware.
Yeah, it's a common angle. Now, you probably want...
It's a common angle, person who said something I have no evidence for.
Wondering if you're sane, like me, who's Leo Convoy?
You're not sane. You think that there needs to be more fan service in anime, and you're 30.
He's a guy. He's a big figure in the commentary community.
For you.
And he's famous especially for predator hunting. You're starting to see where this is coming together, right?
You scared? Spoiler alert, he actually is scared. Raccoon Fangirl for $5. Leo? Who is Leo? I thought your name was Lyle Convoy. It is.
It's almost like, what was Courtney's big video again? Let's see that real quick. Oh, wait, that's not right.
Who?
I don't know the Courtney is. What was Courtney's big video again? That was, what was that? That was, oh, that's right, it was predator hunting. Black Griffin, right?
Yeah, that had nothing to do with me.
That was Black Griffin's video. So, funny how that keeps happening.
Oh, no, it's funny that somebody did something similar. Very funny. What's so funny about that? I'm curious.
Again, keep about the predator hunting. It's really strange that keeps happening.
Beef from for $2. I don't know who this Leo is, but he needs to be taken down. True.
And KP's working with predator hunters. Very unusual, very unusual. So, I make a joke post.
Are you scared of predator hunters, Anthony? Is there a reason you're scared of them?
This is the post I'm going to show you. And apparently it really upset Leo. Really bothered him. We'll get to that in a second. Because he says something in that message that motivated me to make this entire fucking stream. So I'm going to let it go.
Oh, he's so angry. He's so angry, guys. Oh, I was such a monster to him.
I was going to say, this isn't worth it. It's not a big deal. Whatever. People are jerks online. Who cares? I made this post saying, oh, Google AI saying it must be true. Basically, recreating a post I made in Blue Sky saying, KP's a snake in the grass who will share private messages with anyone who sends her in order to gain even a modicum of clout. So right there. This pissed him off a lot.
It pissed me off? Man. Look, I'm on the spectrum, and Anthony probably hears too, because he cannot tell people's emotions. You'll find out shortly, though, because again, I'm going to read off our entire DM history.
Enough for him to make one stupid mistake. He managed to piss me off.
Oh, you're so scary. You're so scary, all 120 pounds of you sopping wet, who's apparently so scared of me. Fun fact, he ran around trying to find allies against me. After all this, he was panicking inside server. And yes, I have the screenshots, Anthony. But you say something far more embarrassing in this that we'll get to shortly.
Sending me a voice message. I'm going to play for you right now. It's loading. I saved it. Did you block me?
One thing I think you need to keep in mind is that whatever weapon you use against other people can be turned around on you. And so you not only continue after you said you stopped, but now you made it very clear that this can be weaponized against you as well. I think you need to take a few days and think about that.
Yeah, guys, I was so angry. That is absolutely how I sound when I'm angry. In fact, let's go ahead and back it up a little bit. We're going to take away the 2 times speed on it, so you guys can hear how I actually sound.
You as well. I think you need to...
By sending me a voice message. I'm going to play it for you right now. It's loading. I saved it in case you blocked me.
One thing I think...
Do you really think blocking somebody removes your messages, you drooling idiot? Answer, no it doesn't, which is why I have all of our DMs.
You need to keep in mind is that whatever weapon you use against other people can be turned around on you. And so you not only continued after you said you'd stop, but now you made it very clear that this can be weaponized against you as well. I think you need to take a few days and think about that.
Guys, I was so angry. I sounded so angry in that voice note, and that was such a threat. This drooling imbecile would see a sign on a cliff that says, "Bridge out ahead," and then run to the lodge to scream that he was threatened by the sign. Good lord, how pathetically weak and stupid does Mr. Media Literacy here have to be to interpret that A as a threat or B as me being angry? Brother! Here's the sad thing. He's claiming he saw the Rosa call. He knows what I sound like when I'm angry. He's a liar. So for all of you fans of his listening to this, your boy's a liar.
Oh, I took a few days to think about it, Leo.
Leo?
I took a few days to think about it. Leo, who the fuck do you think you are?
Bigger and better than you in every single way. And I don't often say that, but you're a pathetic little wastrel. You tried to give a predator money. You sick, degenerate piece of filth.
Threatening me.
It's not a threat. One day you're going to find out what one actually sounds like, and you're not going to know what to do with yourself.
You are a figure in a pond who is respected by people in your community. Sure. Okay.
I am? That's news to me!
Alright. That's a threat in terms of my opinion, especially when I saw what you posted elsewhere. Because, hey...
Oh, when I posted elsewhere, is he going to show what I posted elsewhere? Oh no! Anime Sniper, $2. Funny thing, so I did point out that Ant is YT Light, YDN, I don't know what that means. Emperor Vulcan for $2. Am I the only one who here budget Mr. Enter? No, I wouldn't insult Mr. Enter like that.
Hey, guess what? People look, and people like me.
Oh, what have I put? Show us! Oh, brilliant man!
And they send me things that you say publicly. Let's take a look at what you said publicly.
Oh, sure, let's see. Let's see.
Here's a chart.
Yes, yes. Who the heck is Crimson Ender? They sound like a dork. Shove them in the locker. Crimson is one of Cyan Anthony's friends. Because most of them are more angry that she's mean about cartoons and opinions, they couldn't care less about the actual crime she's done. Heck, I'd tell Lily to go out of that snow naked and try to get lost. Do the world a favor. Remember that Crim person? That's who I'm referring to here. And this is bothering this little weirdo. The child predator, I said go die. And he's offended. This is the wrong he thinks I'm doing.
Chart from, it's like Courtney's stream, right? Talking shit about Crimson Ender here?
Yeah.
You also misgendered Crimson.
Well, I am sorry for that. That was not my intention. I don't know their gender. My apologies.
That's gonna piss me off, too.
Pisses you off that I misgendered somebody whose gender I didn't know? Okay.
Because most of them are more angry that she's mean about cartoons and opinions.
You are, factually.
Couldn't care less about the actual crime she's done. Heck, I tell Lily to go out in that snow naked and get lost. Would do the world a favor. This is in response to Crim. I'm not sure what it's response to, actually.
So you're mad, but you don't know what the response is to. So you're putting it out here as evidence of me being a bad person who said horrible things publicly, but you don't know the context of what it said. It was to your buddy who you tried to lionize, trying to get Lily help because you guys were worried she'd die. Let her die.
But response to Courtney saying something. Real big man, huh?
I am. And?
Big old sturdy statement saying that you don't care about the actual crimes, but you also...
Because you don't. You do not, Grimugula. You factually do not. And the fact the only time you ever thought about getting law involved at all is when she copyright struck you. The minute it came to your doorstep, finally it was a problem. But not before then. And I'm about to blow you out of the water with what I have in a bit.
The one who was arguing with Courtney that she was a groomer?
Actually, I argued with Courtney about whether or not Lily is a mass groomer who was trying to groom her entire community. That's what I argued with Courtney about. Privately, mind you.
Lily being a groomer that she was one?
No, I never argued she wasn't a groomer. I just said she wasn't a mass one. You can't really make that type of claim. That's what I argued with her about. And if I need to pull out that call, Grimugula, I will. See, what he does is he takes things random people tell him and pushes it at fact. So if I say, Grimugula is a kid toucher, he diddles dogs every day, and somebody told me that, he couldn't get mad if I pushed that as fact. But I am better than you, Anthony, so I'm not going to do that.
Somebody told me that. Didn't you defend Lily for many years?
Nope, never once, actually. What he's trying to conflate is me defending Lily was me telling Brittany, go to the cops. That's what I did. That's somehow me defending Lily.
Didn't you?
Nope.
Now again, hey, it sounds...
You did, though. You absolutely defended her and tried to give her money.
Sounds like the next message was...
Buys you for another $5. I love how this Muppet screen is talking big game when he's so scrawny I'm fairly certain Vita could take him in a fight. Oof.
Even more concerning. Hey, zoom in there. You can't read it too well. Same stream.
We have an entire export of Psy server. Oh, this is going to be great. I love this. It's going to be great. It's going to be great.
Entire export of Psy server. So, the public server that everyone has access to, that everyone can read. You have an export of it, huh?
Yes, I do.
The same one that Lily had for a while when other people leaked it to her.
Yeah, and Lily's incompetent and I'm not.
First. The same one that was leaked on Tumblr about 4 months ago and everyone looked through it and found nothing of value.
Because they weren't looking. What did we find, chat? What did we find? We found Psy and a bunch of people talking sexually around kids about cum and dicks and all this other stuff. Her letting children have access to a porn room that she then turned around and justified giving access to these kids to porn room on Blue Sky. We also found her posting Lily Orchard's child porn fan fiction around these children. So no, Anthony, just because other people didn't find something doesn't mean you're in the clear. It just means the people who were looking through it are incompetent. And my crew wasn't. There's egg right on your face, you drooling moron. And the thing is, you knew, because you were involved with those conversations. And this is what I sound like when I'm angry. You sat there with these people, talking sexually around children, and thought it was fine. And you've done this 4 times now. You deranged creature.
I'm sure you have a lot of fun scraping it for hunting those predators.
Nope, didn't even go to look at predator stuff, really. I wanted to know. I'm going to tell you guys the full, unabashed truth. The reason why we grabbed Psy's server, because Anthony wouldn't tell me what was actually going on. I wanted to know what was going on. I didn't go in there looking for this stuff. In fact, when we found out it was there, I lost my mind, because why can't I just have a normal situation? Why do people always got to put kids in danger? Are you out of your mind?
It's the same bullshit every fucking time. They're looking for an enemy, they're looking for someone to hunt, and
I don't need to look for an enemy. They find me, and you found me too now, buddy. You were sitting there talking all your smack, running to Beckett in total fear that I was going to do a video on you last year. And yes, Grimugula, I know, and I have the caps from Psy's server of you verifying that. You're terrified of me. And you know what? At this point, you have a reason to be.
And it's preemptive. You're going to waste about 4 months of your time looking through a bunch of...
Took us less than 2 days.
Photos of furries and a bunch of photos of people goofing around. Leo, let me put it to you before I share my real thoughts. When I share with you all that I've learned very quickly.
Yeah, here's my thought. Put a knife in your neck and pull it all the way to the left, you disgusting, deranged little creature. Absolutely deranged creature. Die.
You could have just signed up for Psy's server if you really wanted to know what was going on there.
Why in the world would I go into that degenerate server when I just needed the data from it? Why would I give that creature money? I'm not you. I don't give creeps money willfully, Grimugula. But that's not the only thing we have here. Oh, no. Let's go to, what was the other mark here? Just the... Actually, no, that was it. Yeah. Remember, guys, we weren't going to find anything in the server. We were going to find nothing in the server. So, let's go look at what I found in the server, shall we? Let's go look. Actually, no, we don't need to look. I did an entire video. But let's go look at what other things I found in the server. Let me pull up some images here. So give me a minute to transition properly into what we need to do. And no, that's not a joke against trans people. I love trans people. Unironically. So, let's take a look at what this degenerate piece of garbage, and no, that's not the right-wing degenerate. You're sick. So here's what he was doing. Now, this says 4 months ago, so it was like a year and 4 months ago. As a follow-up to yesterday, CD Call, a.k.a. Lily Orchard, decided to mass report my channel, Cy Scribbles, and the Crimson Ninja because she believed we were responsible for her Tumblr being banned. None of us were, but that doesn't matter. She wanted to start a fight. Her strikes had no impact at all because all the videos she tried reporting had already been manually reviewed due to similar false flags. Lily then threatened to dox me by posting information that has been public for years. She does this despite knowing I know her home address. Oh. Oh, I wonder if you were able to file a police report with Brittany, since you have her home address. Because apparently Brittany was missing that, and that's one reason why she couldn't report it. The answer is no. There's been no reports made to the police about Lily. She completely lacks any self-preservation. Brother, what you are, Gramugula, is you are a multi-point buck standing right outside the lodge of every skilled hunter on the planet and wonder, why are these people aiming guns at me? But I am being reasonable. You mentioned cornering me a room with a bat, right? Well, I am coming to Canada this summer. You are more than welcome to get your chance at that if you are so inclined. You are also free to debate me if you really want to sling insults in my face. But you don't want to do either, because you are a coward, and we're still an irrelevant coward. Remember, talking to me is a problem. But he wants to talk to the pedophile. But that's not it, Chad. That's not the only thing. Then we have number 2. A year and 6 months ago. I really didn't want to issue a second statement about this, but the number of responses I have gotten regarding this is so exhausting it merits stating. There are things Courtney Pete lied about regarding me. And I say lie because these are all topics I discussed with her previously on Discord. No, I am not straight, or I'm bi, okay? I'm a survivor of assault, okay? No, the lawsuits I said might happen should Lily continue to push her copyright strikes were never about the money. It's not about the money, Spider-Man. Here's the important one. It wasn't $200. It was $700. And as I recall, you thought my idea was hilarious when I explained it to you because we both accurately predicted Lily would never accept it. It would not have gone forward unless you seemed to like it at the time. Clearly your opinion has shifted. He offered Lily $700 to do a video on Evangelion, which, interesting that you want the Predator to look at a creepy video about kids to give them $700 for, because he felt sorry for her, because her videos weren't getting much view. This drooling idiot felt sorry for a child predator. And then when he got confronted on this on Tumblr, which I don't have anymore because the pussy deleted everything, said, well guys, I was just trying to bait them. I'd get them to make the video and then wouldn't give them the money. No, and make it pretty clear here, he absolutely intended to give this child predator money to do a video on a creepy anime. The hero Anthony Gramigula, everybody. The hero Anthony Gramigula. Now, let's look into a few more things. Let me pull them up. Let me blacken the screen for just a minute here. Don't freak out. Don't freak out. Do-do-do-do, So, I wanted to just go ahead and just needle that for a minute. But let me go ahead now and do what I promised. So, you guys saw that I was a big, horrible human being. So horrible. And I threatened him. So, we have to do this. Hold on, let me reposition this. This ain't positioning right. We have to read this from bottom to top because the exporter goofed somehow, even though I know I did it right. It is what it is. Stretch the way I need you to, knave. Stretch. You wretch. See if this works. Aha! So, let's listen to the first voice message I sent. It's the very beginning of our messages.
Well, I learned something today. You can send a Discord invite for a friend request. Anyways, it depends. When it came to the degenerates and creeps and whatnot, I'll be very clear. When I use the word degenerate, I don't mean the way the right wing uses it. Those people are morons. I mean as in like scumbags, creeps, freaks, sexual harassers, stalkers, predators, yada yada. I found that with general creeps, the exception of the sexual harassers and predators, if they're people who are like repentant or they genuinely weren't aware of exactly what their actions were doing, having an honest conversation and trying to guide them helps better. But if they're an unrepentant scumbag, by their nature, they're not exactly the most courageous of people. So getting up in their face and talking them down, or talking down to them rather, and essentially putting them both in shame and embarrassing them tends to do a lot of good. And of course, they broke laws, obviously filed a police report and whatnot. With Zayd, Santa Tony Diaz, whatever, it was a bit different because it started with him genuinely being harassed. And at first, he was just saying, mean things about Star Wars and mean things about people's opinions on Star Wars. And Frankly, I don't care for the most part because it's fiction. People can feel how they want to about it. I do think that a lot of people who initially were coming at him were people who just were unhinged fanboys, and we all deal with those at some point. But
and I want to be clear, I'm playing everything. Thankfully, it's not too much because I don't want this idiot to be able to say anything was out of context because he'll try.
Took a turn when Zaid started, harassing people about alts and harassing Cartoonchi and threatening to put people in videos, and that's when I had to drag him in and essentially burn his face off. At that point on, I was willing to give him a chance. I gave him a few of them, actually, where I'm like, all right, let's work on this. Stay offline for a while, work on your job, work on yourself, get your anger under control. And when he came back, when it came to dealing with some of his haters, we found it was effective for the most part to bring them into a call and not berate them, not insult them, not, talk down to them, but actually just have a conversation. All right, what are your issues here? Where do you think you may have gone wrong? Where do you think Zaid went wrong? And we went from there, and we solved quite a few conflicts like that. At least I'm pretty certain we did. Whether or not they, pivoted on that since everything was happening, I don't know. And I don't keep track of these people like he does. But even when I was doing that for him, thinking he was making really good progress, he was going right back to the unhinged stuff because he just couldn't let these people go. He refused to recognize these people weren't people he needed to concern himself with because they were just random nobodies, and instead he doubled down. My problem is I have a tendency, unfortunately, being way too long-suffering on some of this stuff because I want to give people chances, and not just people like I've been friends with. I've done this with other people too who I didn't know too well. And because I'm very tolerant in that respect, I unfortunately, and I'm not saying this to make myself any sort of victim because I don't think I am, I just think I'm stupid in some cases. I let my kindness be taken advantage of for too long, so I gave him too many chances. And it was a constant trying to rein him in, trying to keep him, straight and narrow, and he just rejected it. I got to the point where the final call I had with him, I just flat out told him that he chose unhinged behavior over our friendship because we did have one. And that's when I kicked him out of my life. But now he's back in doing the same hateful behavior he's always done while refusing to recognize it wasn't the faults that was the problem. And he knows that. He just wants to say that was the issue because it salves his conscience.
And his response to that was, so based on all this, it sounds like Zaid has kind of general reaction to any negativity. It sounds like it's anchored in obsessive anxiety. And it sounds like he exploited your patience there. I can relate there with folks. It sounds like you made the right choice cutting him off. Folks like that need someone to project their insecurities on. My next voice message.
I don't know if I agree with him having a general reaction to any negativity because he's dealt with other negative things. I've talked to him about other things and been able to change his mind on some other stuff. But it just seems these specific topics. If I can, craft a theory here for just a moment, I think it's the fact that when it started, like, say what you will about his media takes, I do think some of them are kind of dumb. I think that he realized, and I talked to him about this. It's not a call I put out because, I was really angry in that he takes way too much from right-wing culture war grifting losers, and that his criticism should be, smart. And at the time, he accepted that and tried to alter a little bit of that. But obviously, now that he's not around me and he can, I guess, toss that outside, same way Jar did. It seems that when this all started, it was less of that and more of because the people who were genuinely coming at him were actually unhinged. And I mean, they actually were. People were talking about because he's being mean on Twitter, they needed to file police reports against him and other unhinged behavior, trying to dox him, threatening him, all of that. I think it kind of flipped the switch in his brain because he's never had to deal with anything like that before. And he's also on the spectrum. Despite trying his best to, well, not best, yes, he did convince me that he wasn't going to go that test, he lied to me, and because I was stupid enough to believe at face value. That might play into it, maybe. I think that it was just something that went way far over, and instead of having proper coping mechanisms and getting help, it's just sort of seared into his mind. And whatever therapy he may be getting, I highly doubt that he's being completely forthright with them. Because look, I've had losers come at me before too, and when I mean losers, I mean just random people saying insane crap. The best way to deal with them is essentially mockery, but he doesn't even do that. He just gets angry and throws the same amount of venom back at them without realizing that all he's really doing is, covering both of them in venom, and that's going to kill them both. But I guess I'll have to learn the hard way. I don't know. Real quick, did you see the last video I did directed to him?
All right. And he says, sorry, I was just setting up for tonight's stream. I haven't seen the last video at the moment, but I will later for sure. It sounds like, yeah, there's a lot of ugly venom there. So I sent him a link to the video. Then 4 days later, I say, well, Zaid just got nuked off Blue Sky. He says, ha ha ha, that didn't take long. Also, sorry for the radio silence. The last week has been exhausting. I said it was all good. Was for me too. He said, my computer broke after a hacking scare. I spent the entire week since basically Wednesday with the computer in the shop, had to cancel a second stream, and we would have made no progress on Friday's vid. Another voice message from me.
Well, at least it's up and running now. Could be worse. You could wind up like old Thuman is. They've been working on a video for like a year now, and right as they were getting ready to finish it up, their computer decided, you know what, I'm going to eat half your project. Also, I'm committing honorable seppuku, and it's been in the shop for, months now.
Legend has it, it's still in the shop. He says, oh, it isn't actually ready yet. It's still in the shop. And then PC parts. All this is getting plugged into. New motherboard, CPU, fan, and RAM because I figured I might as well update it.
Nice. I've got the parts to upgrade my PC as well, but brain only wants to do things in certain pattern, and the pattern is not ready yet, so it's just going to have to sit there for a bit until it's time.
I didn't know for a while I had autism, but the signs were there. Next voice message.
But yeah, if I were to venture a guess, Zaid got nuked off the platform in the past day. I don't know what exactly he said that got him reported into oblivion. May very well have been like talking about people and deserving to be hit by a hammer or something, because bots don't often, check for nuance. And he should have learned that when he said what he did on Twitter. But, if he could learn, we wouldn't be here now, would we?
Right. So he says, yeah, I don't know. If with some of what he says, nuance would even be a factor. One death threat not followed immediately by in Minecraft is probably going to bring down the ban hammer.
Well, the thing that people do tend to get wrong, and it's not helping the situation, And the reason why it's not having a situation is because it gives him the ability to pivot from what the focus of the conversation is to whatever makes him happy. He doesn't actually make death threats. What he does is he says people should have XYZ thing happen to them, or that he hopes XYZ thing happens to them. And that's not a threat. It's not even a veiled threat. It's just him being unhinged. And yeah, when I say nuance, I mean the Twitter, Blue Sky, they're going to see that as violent language in general and ban based on that. Like I've had, okay, so like on TikTok, one of my friends posted a video saying I was bullying him, literally, just to be goofy. And I responded with, yes, get bullied, nerd. And TikTok put a strike on my account for it because they didn't pay attention to anything actually being said there. So that's what I'm referring to.
That was with Lou, by the way. He says, I mean, I think at a certain point, if you got to say, technically I didn't say a death threat, that is basically a death threat. That's a dumb take, by the way. Haha, sarcasm, like bullying thing, that's where more and more nuanced lines. So, we see here.
Yeah, but at the same time, somebody who is anal retentive like Zayd is going to make it all about the technicality. It's why when I even have to deal with people who don't respect the pronouns of others, specifically talking about Christian, I often said to say, all right, well, if you don't respect the pronoun, here's what's going to happen. You're going to get the wrong one, and then the conversation is going to be about whether or not someone like Christian deserves the right pronouns. And at that point, you've deviated and given this person an out for the actual issues they have. So I think that the best thing to do about Zayd is to just consistently point out that is unhinged, and you're unhinged for saying that about specifically this. I know there's some people who get mad that he has that response to things like cuties, which at bare minimum is child sexual exploitation. Any actual child twerking at a camera, that's disgusting. I understand having a visceral response to that, but the other things that he has the same value for, like when he goes on about Neil Druckmann woke garbage, and talks about how people need to get hit in the head with hammers because they like that stuff. That just needs to be pointed out, like, dude, there's actually something wrong with you. This is not normal behavior. Even people who are passionate about this stuff do not talk like that. So I'm looking at it also from like a strategic discussion advantage.
All right, it said, bro, you commented on Linland's video? Wild. He says, oh yeah, I saw that before. I admit I don't really know her well. It says she's a friend, young, but has a good head on her shoulders, and then some more messages.
Dude, I've got to share this with you. Somebody in my server is compiling rage of Zayd and turning them into a techno beat. When or if you cover him, can you please play it? It is amazing.
I don't think that even works. But then we get into what he was referring to. How did you come to the conclusion that KP is a catty bully, exactly? It's simple. I watched her bully people on Psy's Discord, and she flipped out over a basic exchange about a project and shared messages of a casual nature to Courtney Pete out of retaliation in order to get her to fight me. Which, for the record, that's him making an assumption. She shared it because she thought it was funny, and Courtney's the one who decided to post it.
Well, how exactly did she bully people in Psy's Discord? Kind of confused about that, because that's not behavior I've ever seen KP do, and I've known her for, 6 years at this point. And as far as the messages, I did see them. I think it may come from frustration as opposed to retaliation, because there's been a lot of situations that KP has been in that has led to her getting burned, or people just flatly being dishonest about her. It might be a trauma response, because in 2016, I think it was, a whole group of weirdos got together and essentially harassed her for doing nothing. So I definitely know she has problems with that.
He says, I mean, regardless of why she did it, she still burned a lot of bridges with me very fast. Remember, it only matters if it affects him. There are a few things that I take more offense to faster than backstabbing, especially something so fast over so brief a window of time. Yet he'll backstab Psy. Her behavior towards her former Lily fan and basically poisoning the well as she was starting to reject Lily mostly. I'm willing to drop in and move on, but I can't trust a person who did something like that so quickly, and here we go.
All right, well, there's not too much I can do without the actual data in front of me, and I don't think it'd be reasonable for me to ask you to leak something from what I think you said was a paid Discord server or patron server. I'll talk to her about it and see what's going on, see if there can be something met in the middle here so things don't escalate. Sound?
Yeah, I didn't think it was fair for one of Psy's friends to do that to Psy. Getting other people in there was fine, though. He said, and it's fine either way. You don't have to do anything. Yeah, it's not my story to tell about it, so I feel guilty sharing screen caps that might implicate someone in a drama that might not want it.
I'll still talk to her about it, because I'm the type of guy that when I think one of my friends might be doing something wrong, I'd rather talk to them about it as opposed to not touching it. As long as things aren't escalating on your end of things, I don't see it needing to be pushed forward, if that makes any sense. But I'll see what I can do in general. Nothing else, just for my own conscience.
That's fair. I don't want to escalate anything further right now. Remember this. I would rather things settle down so I can focus on work again. I basically lost a whole night putting out fires.
I know that feeling.
Yeah, and if you do hear anything, wait to tell me until tomorrow so I can finish this video. I just need to finish the last 10 minutes tonight, or that isn't getting out tomorrow. I said, aight. And then later on, that same day, that took forever to finish. I said, well, at least you got it done. Thumbnail is taking slightly longer, but that's not my work. Gotcha. I've reviewed anything. Any chance you'd be willing for this evening for a call? He says, maybe. It would depend on a few things. I said, understood. Let me know when you got it sorted. And then the next day, I will be super busy the next couple of days, so I probably can't hop on any calls. You're welcome to tell me what you know, though. I just might be slow to respond. I said, mind if I be direct? He said, sure, go for it. I said, actually thinking about it, it's best to wait a couple of days for you to be available for a call. And then I sent him the screenshot of him using the AI. I said, any specific reason why you're further escalating this after you told me you wouldn't? Remember, he said he wasn't going to. Then he posts this. He said, someone sent that my way, and I thought it was funny. And here's the last message ever sent in this group. I wonder what it is.
One thing I think you need to keep in mind is that whatever weapon you use against other people can be turned around on you. And so you not only continued after you said you'd stop, but now you made it very clear that this can be weaponized against you as well. I think you need to take a few days and think about that.
Now, chat, you've seen my entire history of conversation on this with him. Can you guys point me where the anger is? I was more confused that the man within a single day did the exact thing he said he wouldn't. And I just wanted to talk to him. I wanted to actually just have a conversation, just a regular conversation, to try and figure out what's going on, to de-escalate things, to make sure things were fine, to make sure there wasn't a problem, and then go from there. Literally trying to make sure things weren't going to blow up out of sorts because I saw that coming. And I didn't want that for KP. I didn't want that for Anthony, although I couldn't care less about Sai at the time. That was my purpose. And he immediately does that stream and makes a fool of himself. So we're going to look at some of these fool things he has done. Foolish Anthony Gramigula. Now it's going to be jumping around a bit in the timeline, but this is the best I can do. So we're just going to go over some things he said on Twitter and in the Discord. I'm sure the chat's just raring to hear it. Doop. So, get back to the reading screen here. Where did I put it? I once had a conversation with Lyle Convoy about Misanthropony. I asked him essentially why he stood by them. Lyle explained how he gave them a ton of chances before cutting them loose. He claimed he had faith they could improve. I suppose that only applies to him. And here's what I said that he's screen capped. I am aware of the community post from the Grifter, which, by the way, I didn't even name him, so the fact that he immediately thought that was himself was really funny. I just find it funny how several months ago he tried to run defense for Sai when she was being a racist / letting kids access porn. I guess some people only switch sides when there's enough public pressure. Notice he pretends to not see the letting kids access porn thing, right? No, that is not the same thing. A lot of people start crap with me, it seems. And I suppose you're all going to be disappointed because I'm really not in the mood for it. Why do you think that is? Is it because they don't see the full picture of what your intentions are? Or something else? I think Lyle misses Sai and thinks I can fill that void. No. Deranged animal. Anime Sniper for $2. And Crim were Sai's worm tongues. No, I think they're all snakes. Now, funny, when all this started popping up, oddly enough, Ember was in the chat. Because Ember's message got Beckett's attention on all this. Because Ember was complaining that I was going at it with Sai. Because Ember wasn't paying attention to what was going on. Anthony goes to Beckett to try to get Beckett on his side. And here's what he says in Sai's server. Okay, I just spoke with Beckett. I think I managed to convince him this whole problem is much ado about nothing. So that should prevent the problem from escalating. Which is good. Apparently, Lyle wasn't even going to make a real video on Sai, according to Beckett. At that point, no. Because I was initially going to do a video on Sai, bullying them for being a weirdo about me. I was just going to have some fun until, of course, I find out what happened in their server, and now I can't even do that because I'm not a hypocrite. And then we have more people running their mouths, because Sai's server is filled with a bunch of brainlets. Which, good. It left me more confused about Lyle's motive than anything else, but it sounds like Beckett just thought Lyle was saying stuff. Beckett never wants things, I say, just say things. In fact, Beckett will tell you, I mean what I say, and I will follow through with it, which is why sometimes he tells me not to. What a baby. Brother, you're crying about me in Sai's Discord. Find a brick and eat it. Exactly. He also apparently has a scrape of the Discord, but found very little of it that was useful. No, actually, I told Beckett exactly what we found. And in fact, maybe I'll get in trouble with Beckett for this. Maybe I will, but I'll just risk it. Anthony, do you know why I didn't go at it with you during all that? You know why I didn't pick any direct fights with you? Why I didn't just come at you like I wanted to? It's because we both knew it would galvanize Sai. So, we let you go for a little while. Until you had no ability to defend Sai on anything, and broke that up. And now you're a target. Congratulations, you got played. Even then, all of it pertained to Courtney. The only X factor right now is Courtney, which I think the best option would be to let her sink into irrelevance. The problem is, and Beckett is right, we don't have that smoking gun. Why don't you find one and put it to your head, Anthony? Lio says things constantly. If he didn't do anything particular, it's hard to nail him to anything. But again, all of this is to de-escalate a problem that could rise up rather than anything else. But I think everyone was jumping at the hip with limited info, and that if we just chill the F out, it'll be fine. Fun fact, he never chilled out. And this isn't about we. He was scared a video about him was going to come out. I don't owe any debts commenting on a live stream criticizing Lio Convoy. No. Between Sai and Lio Convoy, I'd choose Sai. He would happily choose the person who lets children access porn. Now, here's where he talks about Jordan and the Lio was going to create CP claim, which has been debunked to high heaven, but we'll go over it one more time, just for my little man Anthony here. That's still a conspiracy to create CSAM, child sexual exploited material. That's what that means. And no, it's not a conspiracy to create it. It's called surveillance. So I want to be very, very clear here. There was an idea passed along to the adults because we had gone to the cops did nothing. The mom didn't care. There was no homeless shelter that could take them. No friend could take them. No family member could take them. So, we talked amongst ourselves, the adults, not the child. The only other option we can think of is Jordan setting up a surveillance and hope that something didn't go wrong. And that if that person came in and caused trouble, it would be on recording and they could send it to the cops. Because the cops couldn't do anything. And I will be very clear here. Unless you have an actual answer, a functional answer for what you would have done that would have worked, I don't want to hear it. And the idea that people are trying to push the idea that I was trying to create child pornography is deranged. And the people who think that clearly want that themselves. So yes, Anthony, I am saying you are a deranged, sick individual. I get you didn't intentionally do it, but own up to making a bad judgment call and demonstrate you learned from the incident. Demonstrate you learned from the incident with a brick to your teeth. Just say, hey, I screwed up and thought it was a good idea, but we'll never do it again. This is why when he says that he wasn't paying attention to mine and Sai's back and forth, he's lying through his teeth. Yeah, suggesting in a private call without the victim in it to film their essay or sexual abuse is still conspiracy to create CSAM. No, it is not. And if that's the case, then everybody who has ever recorded being assaulted for their own safety should be in jail by your account. You're an idiot, Gramugula. I would be charitable to Lio and say he didn't know at the time and probably think that would be the path to justice, but that changes nothing. What would you have done, Anthony? Oh wait, you probably would have just touched yourself to it thinking it was fan service. I am being extremely charitable here, because Lio's circular arguments keep coming up in my feed. I am not seeking this out. Actually, you are. I know for a fact you go look at my stuff. Hope you're looking at this now. Twitter is sending it to my doorstep, but there's only so much I can take. Accept accountability for errors of this scale in advance. When are you going to accept accountability for letting children access pornography? When are you going to accept accountability for wanting to give a pedophile $700? And just to clarify, you can fight misinformation, argue that people are wrong, but you are clarifying you didn't do a thing by unwittingly admitting you did. No, I didn't. You're just a liar. Let's see, what is it I said here? Apparently, Sai was crashing out about all this in Beckett's chat last night. I can't believe I forgot this. If Sai is complaining about me associating, we may bring up the fact that her BFF, Anthony Gramegula, gave super chat money to a pedophile while knowing she's a pedo rapist. Now notice, he's not going to address that. He's just going to be mad that I mentioned him. Lio, it was nice not hearing about you for several months. He never heard about it for several. He was constantly paying attention. I'm going to hear it. Leave me out of your BS argument with Sai Scribbles over her making fun of you. I never once said anything about her making fun of me. He is such a dishonest lout. After all, Lio, you defended Lily multiple times over a decade. Where? Even when people came directly to you with their concerns, I told them to go to the cops. And if I have to publish that call, Gramugula, I will. You spent more time and energy attacking Sai than Lily, even being with her survivors. No, actually, I haven't. Don't virtue signal over your petty grudges. Oh, and this guy here, he's a homeless loser who's mad about me because I criticized Thundercats Roar. That's just really funny. And I'm not the one going after petty grudges, and that's going to be really funny to weaponize against him in a little bit here. So, this is when they're talking about Bonk and KP, and this person mentions me. And here's Gramugula. Funny you mentioned Lio. Take a wild guess who KP is good friends with. Go ahead. Guilt by association. Gramugula, look at the thumbnail. Look at all the people who have done weird things around kids that you've been friends with and defended to the hilt. First off, why do you think I blocked you? Secondly, none of these are lies. KP admitted she sent her expose to Lio Convoy, and Lio admitted to me they were friends and been associated for a while. This is when he was saying, I had a hand in the video. I did not. My information came from Mr. Inter's response. Also, this is nuclear? No, it didn't come from Mr. Inter's response. You're just a liar. I'm aware of the Lio Convoy leaked conversation with KP. I just find it funny how he several months ago tried to run defense for KP when she was causing me problems. Boo-hoo. I guess some people only switch sides with enough public pressure. If you thought for a second I switched sides because of public pressure concerning KP instead of the wrong she's done, you've mistaken me for you. The only reason Gramugula dropped Sai isn't because Sai let children access pornography. Isn't because Sai is a deranged animal. It's because Sai got canceled on Twitter, and Buddy Boy here couldn't brook that, and then tried to play himself as a benevolent help to Sai. He was trying to change her, guys, which, as much as I hate to agree with Sai, is really gross. There's the screenshots from earlier. So, Lily Orchard being a predator, Cricket. A lady making fun of you on the internet, Warpath. Glad to see Lio isn't breaking his promise about hunting predators. No, he's after folks who hurt his feelings, so improvement? Again, he's commenting on my back and forth with Sai. For those of you who weren't paying attention on Twitter during that, I was constantly going at it with Sai over what she had done. Not her, quote-unquote, making fun of me. Again, Anthony, my priorities aren't screwed up like yours. I have multiple times talked about how Lily should kill herself because she's a predator. You've defended her. You've defended her livelihood. You've offered her money. You have defended her life by saying what I said about Krim's behavior was a bad thing and justified it later. You are actually a deranged, insane weirdo. I consider that defending Lio. By the way, I seem to recall someone telling you Lio defended Lily from you. What? I seem to recall someone telling you Lio defended Lily from you. This has nothing to do with any of that. This has nothing to do with Lily. Now, here's the funny thing, right? It's not going in the right direction, so doggone it. Oh, wait, no, I put that in a different file. So here's the fun thing. None of these channels are as big as they once were. They are losing ground because people are moving on. Lio wouldn't have been trying to gain relevance through me if he was at his prime. You guys just heard him say how he wanted to reach out to me. I didn't go to him. I didn't go to him for a debate about religion. He came to me. So he's just a liar. Lio would have been trying to gain relevance through me if he was at his prime. Even then, I wouldn't have. I couldn't have cared less about you. He is crumbling. I don't know. I seem to be doing pretty good. I'm back up above 200 or 20,000 subs. I don't know. That isn't what I'm worried about. What are you worried about? I know what's in the servers. The servers have always been bigger and meaner than these cheesy bulkheads. This person's scared of Cat Slayer. Yeah, these people are actually insane. Yes, this is talking to Mystic Mongrel. I've watched Inter's content. Mystic Mongrel, the weirdo. Oh yes, I'm familiar with Lio. He threatened me when I started speaking about KP. Never once threatened him. And if I need to do so to get his attention on it, to know the difference, maybe I will. It's actually pronounced Gramulia. The second G is silent. I don't care if it's Grummalunga Ding Dong. People really effing hate Lio and just volunteered to help. People effing hate Lio. I spoke with Manga Comment about it. Apparently, Lio would just insert himself with new creators to garner their trust. The way Manga talked about it, it sounded like an abusive romance. Well, Manga Comment just started with some ties to the ACC, including Jar. As he put it, he felt guilty leaving them because they put pressure on him and looking up to him. Manga blamed Jar more, but I think he was trying to compromise his kindness Lio initially showed with his true nature. I disagree with a lot of what manga says politically, but he approached me in good faith. I respect that. And credit to manga, too. He also doesn't like what Lio and the Art CC did. So regardless of what he did, he is trying to be better. So, let's go ahead and have that conversation. Let's talk about Manga Kamen. Manga Kamen didn't disconnect from me because of the wrong I did. He disconnected from me because Peaches told me to be standoffish with him. And I have that call. And I also have the call we have where we talk about Manga Kamen knowing about Spoctor's drive and doing nothing about it. Which is why he put out that video. Now, he claims that Anthony is lying in these. That he never said it was akin to an abusive relationship. And no, I didn't insert myself with larger creators to get relevance. I try to help people. Now, Manga Kamen's already tried to play victim about me, saying, oh, Lio's threatening to release the call. Manga, I know for a fact that the minute we got done with that call, where I actually got raw with you, you ran to Gramigula to cover your butt. And I am very tempted to release that call. And the reason I haven't so far is because I did not want, for a moment, for you to think that I was just going to needlessly come at you. But I am tired of your snakish cowardice behavior. I have been Manga Kamen's backbone for a couple of years. I was always trying to help him. I pulled his fat out of the fire multiple times. The entire reason there was that call with Junkie is because of me. And the minute, and no, Manga Kamen's not a predator, he's just a loser. And the minute he thought it was beneficial to not associate with me, he cut me. Now, you don't have to be my friend. But if the reason you're going to cut me is because I was manipulated by somebody else and try to play pretend that that somehow affected you majorly to that degree, to where you have to run with grifters, brother, you're done. So, I'm not right now planning on making any moves against Manga Kamen. But if he gets dumb, I will. I am at the point where I am tired of sitting here letting people run their mouth. I'm going on the offensive now. So, if you don't want to get smacked, start making some better decisions. Let's continue. Alright, saw that. Oh my god, he didn't even know about Rain. A predator hunter who doesn't know about Rain. How is it that I've done more effective work at holding predators accountable than this guy? Yeah, it's that dumb lion. No, you haven't. You tried to give them money. And you don't know what Rain's about either. Because Stardust's little friend, bringing up Rain, made no relevant topic to that conversation. Rain does not pull children out of abusive homes. It helps adults, you idiot. And yeah, it was Janitor. See, the thing is, he doesn't know about Rain. Neither did you, Gramugula. You deranged animal. Actually, yeah, it's always awkward working for an ad read for a sex toy company knowing my parents watch my stuff on occasion. By the way, this is in, I can't remember if it's Skitty Bitty or Birdman server that he knows have children in it. Here he's talking about a sex ad. Sex toy ad. So, congratulations, Gramugula. You're staying true to form. What's the legit concern? This is about the server. I meant what I posted. Sorry. Nothing. They're grasping. They want me on voice chat to find anything on me. No. Not at all. I've seen the concerns. They're BS. I never want to hear Lio's voice again. This is somebody trying to say, oh, Lio likes to, he wants to bully you. But, in Lio's server, they're bringing up some completely legit concerns involved regards to Sai. Actually, no, I apologize. He's saying that I love debates, but he's saying that, you could have a productive conversation. He says, I've seen the concerns, they're BS, and everyone here, he knew. He was in that server. He knew the concerns were legit. He was covering for his friend. What are the legit concerns about Sai? That she uses the R word because she's an autistic 40-year-old woman who grew up in the 90s? No, it's a lie. There's no concerns. It's bait. Yes, it's bait that people are talking sexually around children. It's bait that Sai let children access pornography. It's just bait that Sai posted a child porn fic. You're right. You're so right, Anthony. Deranged animal. This is when somebody's like having a absolute emotional meltdown. Just the idea of going into Cat's lair. I'm not going in there. I can't. You don't have to. You don't have to, Steve. You're stronger and better than that. This is the battle won in paper cuts. Here's the thing. I don't win battles in paper cuts. I just Zornhow you. And that's what I've just been waiting for. I've just been waiting for the right time to take your head, Anthony. And maybe this won't do any damage to you. Probably won't. But it'll be good enough for other people to find and for other people to turn on you. And that's all I really need. Now, we're going to go into the other file. Because that's the most important thing, right? Him trying to give money to a kid diddler. Him trying to defend a server that lets children access pornography. Let's look at some miscellaneous things, all right? Mutuals Online have informed me that Lio Convoy has in the past badmouthed Evangelion, and I believe this is the most egregious thing he has ever done in his life. This is sarcasm, obviously, except he did badmouth Eva, and I'll continue to, you little freak. What's the next one? This is when I was talking about Jar. Wait an effing second. Jar was inappropriate with minors, allegedly, and Lio Convoy, the predator hunter who attacked Manga Common recently for not acting based on info he didn't totally know. By the way, he did know. He did know. And I didn't attack him. Sat on Jar's hidden alleged sins for blackmail. Also not true. Also not accurate. We were talking about the Choco Latte stuff. Which was public. Already. You deranged creature. In case it isn't clear, this isn't my accusation. It comes from Lio. No, actually it didn't. Nor am I the first to talk about it. I'm just reacting to an ongoing story. So don't fight for your lion god without hearing his words first. Maybe you ought to pay attention to what's being said instead of going to the Reddit drama community. Kill yourself, Gramugula. Immediately. Here's the liability ones. We see 97 and 15. Then we see 72 and 4. And of course, we have everybody's favorite little weirdo who keeps the not safe for work messages of a child for blackmail. Ammo. Look, I know Texas Christians resident who was a diehard weeb and crap talks SEA Muslims is nothing new, but on the same note, I literally expect the bare effing minimum. I'm literally cockswoggled about this guy every time he opens his mouth. This is about the slug stream. By the way, this person really, really is big on race purity. If they find out you're mixed, they will deny your ethnicity. Just so you're aware about this ammo person. On top of the weird predatory crap they do. Oh, and they also really like animal dick. And just to clarify, you can, where I went through this, this is my community stuff. This is, by the way, the person he's talking to here is Bunny Chan, which I think is really funny. So, if I were to ask you guys, didn't he sweep for beans talking to minors about Salo? I don't know. Funny thing is, what do you think my community is best at? What do you think they're good for or known for doing? Is it for harassing people's families, or is it for helping people in need? Because I think it's for helping people in need. Because you guys have been absolute champions of that. You guys have helped no shortage of people with your kind generosity, and it means a lot. That is something I'm genuinely proud of my community for. But here's Gramugula. He's going to threaten your family over this, isn't he? It's no different than what he's already done. I've given a lot of leeway despite him going on about me for hours on live streams. Never did that, by the way. But I can only snort so much BS. Brother, you stick your head in high school fan service, you freak. He reacts to basic criticism with insane leaps in logic and wanting you dead. No, it's not insane logic. The thing is, he only hit people under his weight class or been influencing people who have become bigger. Most of the larger accounts ever associated with him had distanced themselves from him or outright condemned him. Outside the drama community, his name knows no weight. Your name holds no weight anywhere, Gramugula. And on top of that, I've hit plenty of people above my weight class. In fact, it's what I tend to do. I'm sorry, why is Spockter not around anymore? Certainly isn't because larger channels took him out. I had to. And to this day, people make excuses for him. Spectre Creative, larger channel to mine, taking shots at him too. Same with the Junkman. I've taken shots at multiple, but matter of fact, the majority of the people I've taken shots at are bigger channels than me. This is you projecting your own insecurities onto me. I mean to say that people don't take him too seriously outside that. Dude, you were literally running around for allies when you found out I wasn't happy. All I had to say is I've received absolutely insane asks on Tumblr lately. Genuine effing a-hole. I hope something bad happens to your family. Your unchecked ego is causing so much issues that it has come to you in some way. But no, you're an effing coward. If they suffer, it's your fault. You dug the hole and your family will suffer. Previous asks had a lot to do with Lio Convoy, so I can't help but suspect these are from a fan of his. I highly doubt that. Now, this is after everything started in April last year. Let me ask this. Is there anyone who hates Lio Convoy who might be interested in this drama? Anyone petty with a grudge? Guys, he's not scared of me. He's not scared of me, guys. Ah, I love this one. I've been learning a lot about Lio. He isn't good at anything he claims to be. I've never claimed to be good at anything other than bullying freaks, and I am darn good at that. He's a bad investigator. He doesn't collect evidence. I've collected more than you have. He doesn't understand what basic words mean. And these indie comics, has anyone actually read them? Even Miss Anthropony, Lio didn't do crap. I am the only person who held them to account. None of you did, and none of you will. Now, as far as my indie comics, what he's doing here is he's trying to find what comics I worked on so he can talk bad about them, to take shots at my art, which is interesting. I'm going to show you why it's interesting. Give me a moment. So, he was beefing with a YouTuber by the name of Rimment77, and I don't know all the context for everything, but there's a very interesting thing that's said here that I think you all need to hear.
What is good art? Expressive, perhaps? Emotionally resonant? Something powerful that sticks with you. But is good art merely the style, the technique you incorporate? Or is it something deeper? Something that enriches the soul? And can you look at something and go, yeah, that art kind of sucks. That art looks unfinished, but they can do this to improve. Is there such a thing as objectively good art? Well, if YouTube's to be believed, then hell yeah there is. And if you don't follow the guidelines, your art is mentally ill. Something I'm sure is just a euphemism for wanting to say the certain gamer word that's become popular online. The subject of today's discussion is YouTube video essay.
Remember, guys, talking about art being objectively good is a right-wing thing unless it's Gramugula trying to find dirt on you. Then it's fine. And here's the thing, I've never claimed my art's good. That's not who I am. I've never claimed I've been good, quote-unquote, or so good at anything. I don't need to. I do the best at what I can and I move on. Mr. Professional Writer here, though, who has yet to publish his book, even though he's been working on it for years now, I don't know. This is all just absolute ridiculousness. This is who Anthony Gramigula is. He's not a well-meaning critic. He's not an intellectual. He's a pseudo-intellectual sophist. He's a gish-galloping loser. He's a moron who thinks having leftist values automatically means he's in the right when he does nothing correct with them. He's a type of individual who is more angry if you do a media review in a way he doesn't like than he is if you touch kids. In fact, he'd rather there be more videos about children, animated rather, that have fan service as long as it's good enough. Who then winds up in at least 4 different servers where people are weird to kids, says nothing about it, doesn't want to respond when he's called out on it, and then tries to play pretend people are mad at him about other things. Gramugula, this is a initial volley. I have not done a full video on you yet, but I might if you keep this up. This is your chance to admit that you've lied, to admit that you've wronged people, to admit that you've been wrong about people, and to stop trying to morally grandstand people when you offered a pedophile $700 just to go over your favorite pedophile anime. You're always welcome to reach out. We can finally have that talk, Gramugula. Except this time, I'm not going to be interested in trying to resolve an issue between you and somebody else to make it calm down. I just want to get in call and just have it out with you. We'll see if you are the big man who gets your anger from your mother that you've been claiming you are. Remember, I'm not actually scary. You shouldn't take me seriously. You should be able to deal with me in a call anytime you want. Now, you don't have to. You don't have to. You are free to ignore it and go about your business. But everybody else is going to see what this is. And I've been giving receipts all over this that you've been able to fail at. You failed at anything you claimed about me. You've been factually wrong. If I need to publish the calls with Brittany and the calls with Manga Common to prove you wrong, and it will just do more damage to them, then I will. I have no problem doing that because I didn't do anything wrong in those calls. I told Brittany to go to the cops, and I held Common to account for doing nothing about Spotter having a porn drive of a child. But it's okay, I'm just attacking him, right? Needlessly, baselessly. Why is it always around this stuff with this little weirdo? And this is the guy who, by the way, has said that he doesn't like doing drama. It stresses him out. Well, maybe stop getting in servers of people who cause drama. Maybe stop defending people who are creeps, that you have evidence that are creeps, and you just hold on to them until it's not okay for you to, from optics. I don't care about optics. I care about what's right. Okay? So piss off, Gramugula. Take your L, and go back to touching yourself about Evangelion or whatever. Okay? All right. That's all I have to say tonight. It's been a pretty long stream. 3 hours, actually. I actually expected it to be longer. But I don't know if this was entertaining for anybody or amusing for anybody. But here we are. So, I'm going to go ahead and let everybody go. We're going to properly go to commercials this time. Thank you all for joining me. Hopefully you learned something. And hopefully you guys don't repeat in this grifter stupidity. Being left isn't the problem. Being a lying idiot is. Have a good night. I'll catch you all later.
Don't miss the super androids that fly on wings of silver and fight with nerves of steel. The mighty Silverhawks.
Afternoons at 4.
Thundercats! Ho! Thunder excitement is flying at you this fall when the Thundercats tear into action.
Let's cut those mutants down to size.
Get ready to strike a blow for justice this fall with the mighty Thundercats.
Lupin!
Lupin! That man is a notorious thief who works all over the world!
Let's go meet this treasure that's soon to be ours.
Don't say that I didn't warn you.
Stop that woman! You can't fool me! You're planning something again!
Geez, Cops, can't get anything past you.
He'll steal your heart, and then he's coming for everything else. Lupin the Third, premiering next Saturday night at 2.
Take it off.
That'll be my pleasure!
Only Toonami on a...
ビーストウォーズセカンド最大の敵がついに目覚めたライオンコンボイ変身新司令官の登場だガルバトロントランスフォーム破壊大帝驚異の三段変形ライオン台風史上最大の対決に君も参加せよだからトランスフォーマービーストウォーズ
If one is born a man, at least once in his life, he will dream of becoming the strongest man alive.
Are you surprised at all? This is Orochi-style karate.
That's it, baby. Come straight for me.
Your training has paid off most impressively. I'd be happy to reward you now for all the progress you've made.
You could never acquire
What an adorable little playground you have here.
Rocky the Grappler.
You have accessed the secret files of the SWAT Cats. Name, automatic cement launcher. Function, launches pre-mixed fast-drying cement at the rate of 5,000 GPM. Glots per minute. Very effective at freezing monsters right in their tracks. Ending transmission. You have accessed the secret files of the SWAT Cats. Name, Jake Clausen. Occupation, garage mechanic. Alias, Razor. Real job, SWAT Cat. Designs gadgets to capture bad guys. Goal, protection of Mega Cat City. Favorite expression, bingo. Ending transmission.
Meet St. Canard's Most Wanted.
Eat wattage, Starkling!
There's Megavolt, criminal circuit breaker.
It's playtime!
Quacker Jack, fiendish felon. Bushroot, experiment gone haywire.
I'm really not sinister, just misunderstood.
And diabolical evildoer Mega Duck.
A rotten kind of guy.
And only one superhero can stop them.
The original Mr. Fix-It. Get him!
Darkwing Duck.
A new Optimus Prime is here.
I'll transform Optimus.
Power Master Optimus Prime, greatest leader of his time.
It's great to be back.
Now Optimus Prime is back as a Power Master. He only transforms when his Nebulon becomes his engine. Power Master Optimus Prime.
Look, Optimus is transforming into a super robot. Power Master Transformers. They've got the power to surprise.
The earth lies shattered and broken. A ruined wasteland that is now struggling to sustain life. Humanity is near the end after a devastating global meltdown. The oceans have been boiled away in nuclear fire. The land is charred and disfigured, saturated with deadly toxins. Life is a nightmarish struggle. The radiation levels have created hideous, mutated human savages. Mentally deranged, they roam in search of food and water. Gruesome violence brings terrible death to those who encounter these murderous mutants. It is an orgy of chaos, madness on a global scale. Savagery knows no limits. There are no nations, no laws, no order. In this grim reality, the forces of good and evil are once more preparing to fight for the future of mankind. Far, far away, a star shines out from the blackness of space. A beacon for the lost, a symbol of hope, an unfailing comfort to those on a journey. Known as the North Star, it has, through the ages, meant many things to many men. Under this eternal light walks the namesake of this star, a man of power and purity. A living beacon of hope, destined to bring light into the darkness. He is a feared man, spoken of in hushed tones. A legendary fighter, able to call on secret powers. Violence is met with worse violence as Ken destroys the forces of his evil half-brother. Heads roll, bodies fall, and the earth runs red as Ken draws ever nearer to Shin's stronghold in the city of the Southern Cross. The scene is set for an epic struggle between good and evil. What Shin started cannot be stopped. Many will die trying. Many will run. But there is only one Fist of the North Star.